Welcome everyone to the heart of the Centennial State. We're here at beautiful Copper Mountain, Colorado. It's Dew Tour 2021.
The mindset of an athlete is as sharp as the skills they have forged. Balanced with natural instinct. This combination is what propels them. This year's goal is a battle against the world and their ultimate selves. A lifetime to get here today. The opportunity of a lifetime ahead.
If competition snowboarding wasn't nerve-wracking enough, then add the Olympic hype to it. You're playing this game of like chess somewhat.
Dan Davis, he has everything necessary to make the team.
It's the second Olympic qualifier of the year, so a lot's at stake.
Hello, thank you for playing, everybody else.
A good finish here can kind of lock in your spot for the Olympics.
Oh my God.
It used to be where I thought the USA would always have a good medal count for snowboarding. Now it's like total guessing game.
Looking to make an impact.
Halfpipe snowboarding is at a level right now that has never been seen before. It's at a level that people once deemed impossible.
You need some big kahunas to do what we're doing, and it can be quite scary at times.
Now it's this new, absolutely insane generation of girls just pushing the level.
There's a lot to be excited for, and I'm really looking forward to going to my second Olympics.
This has been my life since I can remember.
A perfect 100! Are you kidding me?
I think now I'm at a point in my career where this will be my last time.
Shaun White. Oh boy, he is going for the win.
I just want to say thanks.
Put your hands together for Shaun White.
And I'll see you up there at the event.
And we welcome you to the final day of Dew Tour 2021. A spectacular setting here at Copper Mountain, Colorado as we get ready for the Women's Snowboard Superpipe final presented by Toyota. The pipe has been cleaned out, no residual snow, the sun is out, there is little to no wind, so it is a perfect setting for the women's competition to go down before the holiday break. The big story, Chloe back in competition, but Todd Richards, she is not the #1 qualifier.
It's definitely, she saw what Maddie Mastro had to do and just did enough to qualify. I think she likes to leave the fans guessing a little bit.
Qualifying yesterday, this was the scene again. Similar conditions, Todd, and Maddie Mastro came out swinging.
Yeah, Maddie threw down. She ended up being, falling on run number 1, but run number 2, she got it done and ended up being the first place qualifier. She did her double crippler down near the bottom, and that, that kind of begs the question: what does Chloe Kim have in her bag of tricks to bring it to Maddie Mastro? We all know that she's got a whole bunch of new moves. She's got the double cork frontside 1080. Will we see it here today during this final? Well, they got 3 runs to show us if it's going to happen.
Right now, they are separated by less than 60 points in the U.S. snowboard team Olympic qualification. Remember, they still need to qualify for that. As Maddie Mastro back in it as well. Chloe and Maddie both skipping last week's Grand Prix. No reason really given, Todd, but I'm guessing it was a strategic thing?
I think so. They're so high up on the rankings at this point. Why take unnecessary risk as far as, trying to make it all the way to the Olympics? You don't want to hurt yourself.
There is the start list as we get ready. 8 competitors will be taking 3 runs. Only the best run counts. We're glad to be with you. Alongside snowboarding icon Todd Richards and the editor of Snowboard Magazine, Mary Walsh, I'm Todd Harris. On the Championship Sunday here at Dew Tour, you see 4 Japanese competitors on that side, Todd, and it's the same in the men's competition. The Japanese team is dominant.
Yeah, they are a big presence. And Mary, I'm going to pose this question to you. When do you think it was when we first started to see the big push by the Japanese in snowboarding as far as, the ones to watch for technicality?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think it goes back, and we started when Kazu was competing back in the day, and then you have a Yumu come in. But in the last, I'd say 4 years on the women's side, that's when we really saw the big air competitors and as well as the halfpipe competitors. So I'd say since the last Olympics, really.
Yeah.
It's good to have you with us, by the way, again.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Give me your take on the Maddie Chloe thing. Do you think not doing the Grand Prix last week was a strategic thing? And do you think it's a big deal that Maddie qualified first ahead of Chloe?
I think what you guys are saying is exactly spot on. I think they're both so high in the qualification process that they just didn't have to do it. They could save themselves, kind of for the big show today. Yeah. And I think also what you were saying, Todd, I think it's right. Chloe was kind of playing it strategically. She didn't have to throw down necessarily the new tricks that she has in qualifiers. She just needed to make it to finals.
Yeah, we've seen that in time and time again with Chloe. She does just enough to actually take control of the competition. And then on that last run, she'll do her big flashy moves. She doesn't need to, but that's when she'll debut them. But today, I think it's a different story. This talent field is so deep, and with Maddie having the doubles, it's definitely going to push the level of riding.
All right, so we got the voice of reason, Mary Walsh. We've got the icon, Todd Richards, and we've got the hardest working reporter on snow, Tina Dixon, who's standing by in the corral.
Oh, yeah, and there is no doubt the 2 women to watch are Chloe Kim and Maddie Mastro. Leading up to Pyeongchang, Chloe Kim was untouchable, and the women were left fighting for that 2nd and 3rd place spot. But since then, things have changed. Chloe is still a very dominant force, but she's taken time off to go to school. And Maddie Mastro has taken to her training very seriously. I spoke to her team, and they have put a plan in place. They have provided her the tools for her to succeed. Right place at the right time, and we're starting to see that with her qualifying first. Now, in terms of the conditions, watching practice, the pipe is running smooth, it is fast, the sun is coming out, and Todd, really setting up to be a great day for a contest out here.
All right, thank you, Tina. Much more from you as the day progresses on. We have got 8 world-class women ready to do battle, 3 runs apiece, only the best run counts. This is Chloe Kim just getting in some qualifying runs, and looks smooth as she did last year, the year before.
And the thing is, too, is I think Chloe has a very technical run that she can kind of do in her sleep. And you see right here, she's not pushing the limits of height. She's doing exactly what she needs to qualify only.
Yeah.
She's got those 1080s. She can go way bigger than that. So it's going to be a really interesting day to watch play out with Chloe Kim and Maddie Mastro.
So 8 riders, 3 runs, and the scores out of a possible 100. It's overall impression. Mary, judging is obviously the hardest job in the world. When you see overall impression, is there anything more specific that you can say this is what they want?
Well, the judges are looking for, they want technical tricks, of course, and with halfpipe especially, you want amplitude. You want to be going big. We can see that so visibly with the height markers. We want to go, overhead airs. You also want to have that flow in between each hit. You want to be going smooth across the flat bottom before you get to the next wall. So it's a little bit of all of those things together, the tricks you're doing, the spins, the grabs you're choosing, all mixed into one for that whole flow of the run.
Yeah, and it really comes down to, as well as what you're linking for tricks. What are you starting your run off with, and what are you ending your run off with, too? Very important.
All right, we are all set. Thank you, Mother Nature. It is a perfect setting for Championship Sunday as we are set now for the Women's Snowboard Superpipe Final presented by Toyota. What a way to start the holiday season off with a Superpipe here at Copper Mountain. Everyone has traveled to Colorado to get ready for the Grand Prix. The Dew Tour will take a break, and then it's on to Mammoth for the final Grand Prix before the Olympics take place the first week of February. So Hirano Matsumoto will get the honors to drop in first, 2018 Olympian, where she placed 6th out of Sapporo, Japan. She starts things 4 Japanese competitors to start off the competition.
So what this will be here is the judges are actually going to be warming up on her run as well. Obviously, with qualifying, you want to do your best in qualifying so you can run later in the lineup, and that will, also be able to see what the other riders are doing, but also give the judges a chance to warm up their scoring.
Todd, to your point, in all the years that we've been calling snowboarding, have you ever seen someone come out in the first run of the final and put down the winning run?
I would say not that often. We saw it, I think, a couple weekends ago, but usually that doesn't happen because just by virtue of the way the scores go up, the riding, people begin to get warmed up, the riders go higher. So it's definitely, it's very rare that we see that.
It's a building process usually.
All right, Mary, what are we seeing here?
So we saw her link two 7s right there, which is really solid start to the run, and she was going for that 9 on that last hit, Todd?
I think so. I think, at this point in women's progression, in the half pipe, you're going to have to do the 9s.
Yeah, it's kind of washed out a little bit on the landing on a little heel edge heavy, as you can see. But, it's first run. She knows she's got to bring it with Maddie and Chloe in the mix today. So she's trying to get that first run in strong.
Hirano Matsumoto trying to make Team Japan. That'll be going to Beijing. Lighting could be an issue. You see right now the pipe is almost completely covered in the shadows, but the sun is coming up over the front range as we see Seina Tomita. Now, she's a 2018 Olympian as well. 2nd place last week in this very half pipe, Mary, at the Grand Prix. She brought a really complicated program and was just smooth.
Yeah, and you have to, thinking back to the Grand Prix that we did here last weekend, the big absence of Chloe Kim and Maddie Mastro, you could really feel it. There was a bit of a vacuum as far as like the quality of runs that had to be done to take the win. I'm not saying that it was anything less, but it definitely didn't have that explosive. You didn't have to go giant, and the combos didn't have to be as crucial. But so far, this run here, going smooth. Got the 2 big 7s, and she'll end her run off down here. Only about 1 more hit up to this frontside 900. So clean run, good way to start your campaign here in the finals. Best of 3.
Issues, Mary, do you think with the lighting?
I think that's a little bit challenging for sure. I mean, you can see going from wall to wall, you really want to be able to have consistent lighting. It's a little shady in there right now, and that affects not only the visibility, but also the pipe's probably very firm, a little icy right now.
Yeah, and I mean, getting your edge in. Anytime that you have competitions that start before the sun hits the half pipe, it's not easy. It's not easy on the athletes because they went through warm-up and now they're warm, and then they have to sit up there and wait so they begin to cool off. So you'll see these runs get better as we go on, as the sun kind of hits the pipe. A lot of these riders are solar powered. You sit there in the sun kind of like a lizard and just take it in and get warm and get excited for it. It's kind of hard to bring your A game when it's really flat.
Seina Tomita with an 86, so this is what she does. She's just clean and consistent. We'll see if that 86 holds up and keeps her in a top 3 with still 2 runs to go. Ruka Tomita now, 19, also out of Miyoko. Tomita's so consistent. When you have a sister to train with, that helps as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder what the... is it more about bragging rights?
Yeah, I was going to say the conversations at the dinner table.
Who's buying dinner?
I think whoever wins the bigger check.
Yeah.
So Seina just laid down the best run we've seen so far with an 86, and that is a nice opening score. Definitely something to build on. Remember, it's a 3-run only. Your best run counts.
So here we go, approaching into her frontside wall first, trying to carry as much speed as she possibly can. Nice frontside air to get the pace going. Now, if you want to come out and win, you got to do tricks like that right there, right up top. The big backside 900 into the frontside 720. Things going smooth so far. So 2 7s. Very nice run. Frontside 540 to end it off. So the backside 900 up top. I think maybe she could turn that last 540 into a frontside 900 to really make a point here.
Yep.
I got to tell you, though, I love seeing a 900 at the top of the pipe.
Yeah.
I mean, you look back even in, 5 years ago, that wasn't happening in women's half-pipe riding. So to see that as, just casual, easy throw on that hit is really cool.
Yeah, nice front side there to get it going. And here's that 900 you were talking about, Merritt. Drops that front shoulder to get the rotation to come around. Didn't quite grab it. I would like to see a hand on the board to show ultimate control in the air. And then into a pair of sevens. And then capping it off with the frontside 540. I think there's room for improvement, but this is also run number 1. You're kind of just seeing where the judges are sitting with this run so you can build on it.
So 3 Japanese competitors have gone thus far, and there is a 4th one still to come. Haruna Matsumoto will be the elder stateswoman of that group. At 73, puts Ruki just behind her sister. So Haruna Matsumoto, the elder stateswoman of the group, at 28. And Mitsuki Ono is the youngest in the field, and she's the next to drop in. She's just 17 years of age, knows exactly what she needs to do. And Todd, being able to travel the world with 3 other competitors from your country, one being your sister, that's got to be a pretty tight crew.
Yeah, all these Japanese riders, they tend to be very tight, and they train together. They hang out together, and it's a traveling family.
Yeah.
What I love about the Japanese contingent is that they have such good style. It's just like carte blanche. If you are from Japan and you are riding in the half-pipe, you have phenomenal style.
And you start runs off with frontside 1080s like that. That's the way to bring it, and that's why the Japanese are such a force, that everyone that's competing in half-pipe and slopestyle and big air all look at the Japanese riders as the ones that take it to it as far as technical tricks. I mean, later on in today's men's competition, we have Ayumu Hirano, who's arguably the gnarliest guy in the half-pipe right now. But on the women's side of things,
that is a high-risk, high-reward maneuver.
Yeah, and had she landed the frontside 10 off the top, I mean, the judges, they can't not reward that.
And that's something I'm sure that the Queralt, Maddie, Chloe are watching from the top of the tent.
She just came up a little short on the rotation, so talking with the coaches, we'll go back up top. Remember, Mitsuki is just 17, part of this very powerful Japanese snowboard team, both on the men's and the women's side, and that will be a throwaway run for her. So the Japanese right now, the 4 who have gone, 86 leading the way, Seina Tomita, 86, her sister Ruki just behind at 73. Now we open up to a little international flavor, all the way from Sabadell, Spain, which is about 20 miles from Barcelona. It'll be Queralt Castellet, 4-time Olympian, trying to make her 5th Olympic team.
Now let's talk about her coaching squad. None other than double silver medalist and just snowboarding legend, Danny Cass. If you want somebody in your corner, it's that guy.
And I think what we don't often see about Queralt in competition, because she's throwing those bigger spins, is that she has some really cool creative tricks that she does for fun. If you check her Instagram, she has a half cab method. I feel, especially since she's been working with Danny, I feel like those cool style tricks have really been popping up more and more with her.
Here we go, starting a runoff switch. Switch backside 540, big risk off the top, straight away for Queralt, into a slow rotated 720, full grab, full extension of the front leg. Nice frontside 5 tail. She's looking very smooth here. Back 9, grabs mute on that as she comes around. And then down here at the bottom, a front 9.
Oh, wow.
Queralt is here.
No need to warm up. Queralt Castellet trying to make her 5th Olympic team. Remember, she's coming off a 3rd place performance in this very half pipe last week at the Grand Prix.
And Mare, Queralt is one of my favorites. She's one of the women that I talk to the most just about style and tricks and stuff just on social media. And she's never satisfied with where she's at. She always wants to push herself.
She's got very, very classic style. I mean, when she puts a method into her runs, it is a really kicked out method, super proper. So I think she's very critical of that aspect, which is not a bad thing as a snowboarder.
Yeah, and I think that's great. She's also, as a person, she's very spicy. And she will let you know when she's not having a good day or when she's having a good day. And it's great. I think it shows in her riding. Just that flair, that frontside 900 to end that run off.
Todd, how would that run compare to her coach's, Danny Cass's run to win the silver medal in Salt Lake City in 2002?
I'm telling you, Queralt you can see that she's taking what Danny Cass is bringing and kind of incorporating, because she's super stylish. Her
Oh my,
rotations are
93!
slow. Yes.
Queralt Castellet is in first place with a huge score. A 93 right off the bat, and that's going to open things up for her, give her a little bit of latitude to maybe take some chances on some other things. This is Saijutong out of China, 28-year-old who goes by the nickname of Tong Tong.
Hey, I like this. I like that we already have a score.
Yeah.
That's a solid
push
90
everyone.
because it's going to make people like Chloe Kim not pull her punches.
Yep. So Tong Tong coming off a big win last week and the Grand Prix in the same pipe, so she's basically set up residency for the last 2 weeks here at Copper.
She has a really nice frontside 900. She grabs the frontside grab. I'm sure we'll probably see it here. Look at this method to start things off. Here we go. Here's the front 9. Grabbing frontside, landing a little bit low in the trough of the transition right there and going down. But Queralt has made everyone step.
Yes, sir. It is the effect of the 93. Spain's Queralt Castellet laying down a 93 on run number 1. And now the heavy hitters, the top 3 competitors, or the top 3 qualifiers, I should say, will have the pressure put to them.
And you can tell it kind of affected her. But look at that method, Mare.
Gosh, that was a thing of beauty. I love when everyone starts off the double overhead method.
And look at this right here. There's that frontside 900, letting go of the grab a little bit early and landing pretty far down in the transition. You need to try to match the top of the lip. You don't want to land out in the bottom.
Going for broke early on, but we'll see her.
Chloe Kim, the 2018 Olympic gold medalist in the half pipe. She's done a little bit of everything, modeling. She's been at Princeton. And now she's back, ready to compete. All right, we want to take, first of all, a look at the U.S. snowboard team's current Olympic qualification standings, showing the athletes who are the closest to achieving criteria to be nominated to Team USA for the 2022 Olympic Winter Games. Now, there are multiple pathways, Todd and Mary, as you know, to qualify for the Olympic teams this year, including World Snowboarding points and podium results at tryout events, of which this is one.
Yeah, you know, while Chloe Kim is in a pretty commanding position right now, and also Maddie Mastro, there's a lot of shake-up room underneath those two as far as who's going to make this team.
I think it's interesting that even if you are the defending gold medalist, you don't get a free pass. It's not like winning the Masters, you get an automatic invite.
Maybe you should. Who do we talk to?
So Chloe Kim, originally from Torrance, California, now a citizen of the world, as she is, if you follow her on Instagram, she is everywhere.
Not my shot. Here we go, Chloe Kim. Will Queralt Castellet give her the motivation to throw down her huge runs? Yep. She will. Front 10, a little bit of a mistake on the landing, but able to combo that into the switch 900. So bringing it right away. Switch backside 540 into another 1080, but a skid out on her heels. But Chloe Kim, Queralt has brought the noise here in the women's final, and now it's going to be a game of catch-up.
Love to see them stepping up their game live as it's happening. The women are riding at such a high level, and it's just so exciting to see this stepped up on run 1.
You know, you don't usually see Chloe Kim fall.
No.
Straight up. You do not see her fall that often. But big 1080 to start things off. Little bit of a chuff of snow on that landing.
Look how she locks that grab in.
She gets the grab, but watch this landing. A little bit of a skid, but that's all about strength in the legs, the core strength to stay up on your feet. And then she kind of got it back. Combos that into the switch 900, into the switch backside 540. But unfortunately, on the second 1080, she went down.
And again, a testament to how strong she is and how good she is at snowboarding, that she can have a bobble like that and still carry on with another hit.
So what happened here, Todd? Did she just overcook it, or?
No, she comes around and just kind of lands a little bit too hard on her heel. She didn't pop into the half pipe far enough. And it is one of those, it's a game of inches up there. Yeah. You need to be just over the lip and land tight to the top of the wall on these tricks to keep your momentum up. Chloe Kim, though, she's got 2 more runs to get this done.
Always a smile on her face. A 32 will be a throwaway score for the reigning Olympic gold medalist, which currently has her in 4th place. Number 1 qualifier, originally from Wrightwood, California. This is Olympian Maddie Mastro. Maddie is, she definitely brings it, and she has taken her snowboarding to a next level. Now, this is her pre-race, kind of gets herself centered, her zen.
And, you know, you kind of have to credit Chloe Kim for making everyone, actually, you know, it was really all about Kelly Clark elevating the level, Chloe Kim matching it, and now Chloe Kim is influencing the rest of the riders to push their limits. And that's why we have this double cork happening that we potentially will see here on hit number 2.
Kelly Clark definitely at the top of that list. If you're going to put a Mount Rushmore of women's halfpipe riding, she is definitely going to be on that.
So as we saw, she threw this trick in qualifiers. The judges know that she has it, and that's really important.
Maddie Mastro on course.
Big method error to start off this run. Here comes the double right here. Up and over 2 times. Perfect landing, tight to the top of the lip. Big backside 540. All she needs to do is stay on her feet right now.
Oh no!
My gosh.
And Maddie Mastro comes out of the pipe and lands hard on the deck.
And that's the exact same spot that Chloe Kim had that issue where she almost hung up.
Todd, you talk about game of inches. Well, that was more like a foot because she was so far out. As soon as she left the lip, you could see that her trajectory was not going to take her back in.
Ouch. She hit really hard.
So the safety crew gets to Maddie Mastro, the #1 qualifier, after a big hit. And you'll talk to anyone that rides a half pipe, they will tell you this is not snow. This is literally rock hard ice.
It is essentially cold concrete out here. So if you can talk about like what happened once again, as far as like popping out, making sure that your tricks are far enough in the half pipe as well as going high. Depending on how that wall is right there, it could be faded away a little bit. That may be, contributing to this factor. It's too early to tell.
Yeah, seeing 2 of the very best in the world go down on the same spot. We'll have to see how this all plays out. There are the current standings right now. Spain's Queralt Castellet lays down a 93 in run #1. And then you have a trio of Japanese riders right behind Chloe Kim sitting in 4th place. Much more of the women's competition is Maddie Mastro is being attended to, the #1 qualifier. The American snowboarder is down in the half pipe. We'll try to get information on that. This is the Women's Snowboard Superpipe Final presented by Toyota, and you're watching Dew Tour 2021.
Copper is king right now of Colorado. Breckenridge was always king. Breck fell off. Copper took the reins and they are running with it.
It just became the hub of what's going on.
I love coming here. The half pipe's good every time you come, whether it's, a random Wednesday or a competition. You know exactly what you're gonna get.
These guys just love it. Like, their park builders love building stuff. They really want to test their limits, and I just want to ride at a mountain where their park builders want to test their limits and I want to test my limits.
Yeah, I think snowboard parks in general are sort of a dying breed these days. It's not a cheap thing for mountains to invest their time in.
They're one of the last resorts in the United States to provide a 22-foot half pipe year-round. Without them, we'd be struggling to find half pipes.
They really listen to what we have to say, and they want it to be fun for all the riders.
My whole strategy gearing up for the Olympics was to basically come to Copper, ride, and then just stay here.
You can really come here and progress however far you want.
Over time, it's evolved into this thing where they want to be a proving ground for snowboarding.
You know, half pipe in the United States that we can depend on, that we know we're going to get amazing training. I look forward to it every year.
This is the best venue in America, hands down, for half pipe.
Back at Copper Mountain, Colorado on Championship Sunday. One run complete in the Women's Snowboard Superpipe Final presented by Toyota. And right now it is Queralt Castellet, Todd Richards, leading the way with a 93 on run number 1.
Yeah, and she definitely brought the noise very early in competition and kind of set the bar for what is expected of these riders to put up the big scores. She did a couple of big tricks, big 900s, started her run off and really pushed Chloe Kim to try to catch up with her on run number 1, and unfortunately for Chloe, having some problems. So here we go. This is Queralt Castellet starting her run off with a switch backside 540. And look at the style here, Mara, on that 7. I mean, punching that leg out, it's no wonder that Danny Cass is her coach.
They make a great pair. I feel like her style just continually gets up. She's really looking for the non-orthodox grabs.
Yeah.
93 on run number 1. Then you have the Tomita sisters sitting 2nd and 3rd, and Chloe Kim, defending Olympic gold medalist, sitting in 4th. All right, let's talk about Maddie Mastro. This was the scene.
Yeah, and this is unfortunate too because this run was going so well.
Yeah.
So watch here as she goes up for this hit. She goes out of the pipe towards the deck. Pretty harsh wreck right here. Makes contact with the coping and hits her face, and then bounces into the flat bottom. So I'm gonna have to check up and see how she's doing.
All right, for more on Maddie Mastro, let's check in with Tina.
Yeah, Todd, and medical did check her out. Now, she did get up in the pipe and walk down. With the assistance of the medical, though, they are currently checking her out. That's all I have right now. If I get anything more, I will let you know.
All right, thank you, Tina, for the update. Todd, the only good news there, she did get her board down first, but then just took a shot to the grill as she hit that coping, and that is just,
ouch.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. That was a really harsh fall in the shadow, early morning. That snow, it's not going to get much softer, but you are not getting any solar softness to it at all.
Queralt leads the way, 93, run number 1. It's a 3-run format. Only your best run counts. The Tomita sisters currently sitting in the last 2 podium positions. Chloe Kim had a great run like Maddie Mastro going until the fall about halfway down. So we start back up again with Hirano Matsumoto, the 28-year-old 2018 Olympian. She finished 6th for Team Japan in Pyeongchang, trying to make a team again. It's going to be a tough team to make, Todd, both for the men and the women. Mary, the women's team has just come on strong this last year and a half.
Oh, yeah, it's really incredible watching the progression come out of Japan right now. I mean, not only do they have very heavy bags of tricks, but they, like I said before, they just have really, really good style. They're clean riders.
And something too, I mean, you alluded to it yesterday when we were doing the women's slopestyle competition, is that some of the resorts that are in Japan, not on the North Island, but the main island, they have short lift runs that can access terrain very quickly, so you get a lot of reps in riding, and that's so important when it comes to getting better at a rapid pace.
The layout of the resort kind of keeps these kids focused on the rails and the jumps and the half pipe, and unfortunately Matsumoto having issues there right at the bottom, so I don't know if that's going to be much of an improvement on a first run score of 25.
And that's the beauty of this 3-run format that we have. They're only taking 1. It used to be the case that it was 2 runs combined, and that's all you got, the only shot you got. But
yeah, what was up with that system when you were competing at the Olympics?
It was terrible. It was 2 runs combined, and I was just going to allude to the fact that it stunted the progression in half pipe for years because all you were trying to do is be consistent and not be creative. But once we go to a format like this, best of 3, you have a chance to let it all hang out a little bit and push the limits of what you can do and maybe get eye of the tiger during that final.
We saw that last week at the Grand Prix. Jan Scheer was sitting, 8th place, and he takes run, takes 2nd place. So congratulations to him, and congratulations to the people that went with the 3-run best run format. Back to the top we go. The Tomita sisters are next up. First up, it'll be the elder Tomita, Sena Tomita, 2nd place at the Grand Prix in this same half pipe last week, a 2018 Olympian representing Japan. As we mentioned, 4 Japanese riders making the final. just 2 Americans outside of Maddie Mastro and Chloe Kim. Mary, talk about who the next names are that you think are going to pop in there. Obviously, Ariel Gold retiring opens up a big void.
Yeah, well, we saw it, we've been seeing it in the Grand Prix lead up. We have Tessa Mods, Nora Alba, Summer Fenton, Kinsley White. These women are on the cusp of, the next 2 spots for the Olympic team. Obviously, without Kelly Clark there, we have 2 spots open, which is a big deal.
One thing to note, going into the Olympics as a underdog, as someone that doesn't have the weight of the media on you, you can often tap into that energy that's there and perform well beyond your means, that's for sure. Backside 540, getting ready here towards the middle of the pipe. Inverted 720, landed that really smooth. So there's those 2 7s. Remember, she's sitting in second place right now. Front side 1080 attempt as well.
Saina Tamita going for it on the final hit. Now you see the height meter going 10 feet 4 inches out of a 22-foot half pipe. She is feeling the effects of elevation.
Yeah, so a couple of big tricks up top, getting the rotation done well before she re-enters the half pipe.
I do like those back-to-back 5s. I mean, she puts them down pretty effortlessly before leading into her bigger tricks at the bottom.
I'll say this, if you're going to do 540s in the half pipe, they need to be huge. At this level, you're going to want those 540s to turn into 900s if you want those big scores, and you're going to want those 720s and 900s to turn into 1080s if you want to take the win.
That wall seems to be the wall that's doing everyone in.
Watch right here, once again making contact with the lip. And, it doesn't seem like these riders are making these big impacts, well, with the exception of Maddie Mastro, but even a tap at this early when it's so cold out of your body on that ice, it hurts.
Ruka Tamita will follow her sister. She currently sits in 3rd place with a 73. The mark to beat still, Queralt Castellet of Spain, 93. Chloe Kim still to take her 2nd run. She'll be coming up in 2 riders.
You can just hear how crisp it is out there when you hear the boards kind of squeaking around in the snow. It is very cold.
Well, we had this situation yesterday, Todd, during the women's slopestyle final, and they were talking about, and you made the mention, it's chalky. It's almost Velcro-y.
Yeah. That problem is not here because this half pipe right now is, like I said, it's basically frozen concrete. There's that beautiful front side air to get things started into that backside 900. Do you like that, huh, Mare?
Yeah, that was nice at the top. Love seeing that.
There's that 7. So much better run this time coming through. 2 7s back to back. Into a drifting front side 900 to end that run. So that's going to be a big score right now. She's got 2 900s. She turned that 540 that she did in run number 1 into that 900 as I predicted.
Dad, you can see the look on her
now we're going to see a bump up.
I think it'll be more than her sister's 86. Saina has the 86, which has her in 2nd place. Ruki sits in 3rd with a 73.
Talk us through this, Mare, just this strategy and the run here.
So obviously this is a setup, a big frontside air to set up for the big technical trick with that backside 900. I'm wondering, a little bit, like you said, could hold the grab a little bit longer on that one, but setting up nicely to go into the back-to-back 7s.
Yeah, and then to end her run off with a 900 here, that was a 540 in run number 1. You always want to leave the judges with a big move. That 720 sets her edge, comes up, dips that shoulder down to kind of cheat the spin a little bit and comes around on that 900. So 2 900s in that run. Definitely solid score coming.
And Ruki will bump up to a 77.50, which will keep her in 3rd place with 1 more run to go.
I'm curious about that score, though, with those 2 900s in there. Maybe the judges are just looking for you to just go a little bit bigger, and they're going to start judging on that a little more.
Mitsuki Ono now, the youngest of the Japanese contingent here at 17. Had some issues on run number 1, which has her in 8th place. She just got a 12, so that becomes a throwaway because it's a 3-run format. You only keep your best. See how she's motivated after what she just saw from Ruka Tamita.
I'll say already on run number 2, we are definitely seeing the level being pushed here. The riders are warming up. The judges' scores? Maybe. Maybe it's going to take a little bit of time. Front 1080 attempt, almost clipping the deck right there on hit number 1. You want to avoid the lip at all costs when you're re-entering the pipe.
You know, we talk about the risk versus reward aspect of this, and that's what that first hit is, of course. You know, if you make that front 10 on the first hit, you're going to have a potentially big score if you can finish out the run, but you're always running that risk of watching out.
So do you back it off? I mean, would you say back that off on that first hit and maybe save it?
I don't know if you can with this crowd right now, you know?
Absolutely not. If you want to put up big scores, you're going to have to really come at it hard. So there we go with Queralt Castellet. This is her run that has her in the lead currently. She's got this trick. She has the technicality, holding her grabs through her rotations. As we see right here on the front side 900. Watch how clean she lands that, just pivots off that tail. So I'm looking for maybe a 1080 here on this next run to kind of bump up her score.
Queralt Castellet of Spain will be the next one to drop in. We've mentioned already at 32, she is the veteran of the 8 women that made this final. A 4-time Olympian looking to make it 5 for Team Spain in less than 2 months. And man, the way she's riding Todd and Mary, I can't imagine her not being in Beijing.
And we still have some time before that competition as well. So here we go. Q, as she's affectionately known by the snowboarding community, about to drop in, perhaps bumping this run up. Now watch this little subtle 180 in. Very Danny Cassish.
I was just thinking that. I was thinking about wouldn't it be cool if she added a little 2.7.
There we go. Switch back 5 to start it off. There's that 57-20. Grabbing Melon, punching that leg over the deck. There's a huge front 9. Big back 9. Queralt into that 1080. Oh, and unfortunately just washes out a little bit. I don't even think she really needed that on that run.
Man, but she is on the rivet today.
That was stellar riding.
That was amazing.
And Queralt she's a diminutive rider, Mary. She's smaller, so she looks good in the air. Just so compact.
Yes, yeah, like I said before, she has really, really great style. And love to see her pushing it. I mean, she's been competing for she started the Olympics in 2010. So she's been in the contest circuit for a minute, and it's been really exciting to watch her kind of evolution as a half-pipe rider.
Watch this 900 just carrying a lot of momentum, drifting down the pipe, and combos that backside 900. Back-to-back 9s. And then straight into the front 10 attempt that I really would like to see her put down.
Love that drone angle to see how far they're really traveling down the wall of the pipe.
And that's one of the big differences between when I was riding half pipe and this current half pipe, is you're able to carry your momentum. We used to go straight back and forth almost. Now they're drifting distance. There's that frontside 10, kind of clipping, but she's got it. You can tell now she's going to be all ready for run number 3.
So run number 2 becomes a throwaway for the current leader, Queralt Castellet of Spain. She stays with the 93. That takes us down to the top 3 qualifiers. It'll be Saijutong of China first up. She fell on her first run, only got a 16, but she's got 2 more runs to go. But wow, you mentioned this, Todd. Putting the pressure to the top qualifiers is Queralt Castellet with the 93 on run number 1.
And so run number 1, she fell on her frontside 900. I haven't really ever seen her really fall on, to be honest. So, Matt, you know, you got China in the mix now. That kind of just came about in Sochi, the Sochi Olympics in 2014. We really hadn't seen China even be a force or even send any athletes to any international competitions before that.
Right, they've come in. I feel like women's halfpipe was one of the first places that they started to break into the scene. Wu Jiayu and Sai right here. You know, they started having a presence early on, and again, they continued to up the ante and push the other women on the tour.
And that's something definitely taken into consideration. The short amount of time that they brought progression to their riding. At first, they were just kind of here, and then you come back the next year, like, whoa, you've been putting some work in the summertime. And runs like that, I mean, switch 900, big front side 900.
And I think that's where most of the progressions come, guys, because remember when the Chinese first came onto the scene, their riders were just big air. They would just go huge out of the pipe, but not really technical.
So let's talk about this run here, what went right. Starting things off with the big method air. We love that. That shows your style, your control. And then straight into the front side 900, kind of grabbing boot. I do not like it when riders grab their boot. It's one of those things where you could be grabbing the board. It's a subtle difference that definitely in the eyes of the judges will reflect. But that air to fakie into a switch 900, that's a combo that we're not going to see from anybody else. That air to fakie where you go straight up the wall, come straight back in. It's really hard to match transition. And to do that as a setup trick is definitely going to reflect well with the judges. So there's that switch 900 stalefish at the bottom.
It looked like she was going to maybe go for one more hit, and then she just carved out.
Maybe, perhaps she'll do that on run number 3.
So Saijutong with a full pull top to bottom, much better than her first offering. We'll see where that sends her. And it's going to be an 89, so she vaults up to second place. So it's Spain, China, and Japan, your top three.
I think that might be about to change here by virtue of our next competitor dropping out of the pipe, who does not like to be shown up.
Chloe Kim sits and waits in her thoughts. The 2018 Olympic gold medalist. There you see her currently sitting in 6th place. She had a fall on run number 1 with a 25. 2 more runs to go for her. Only the best run's going to count here. Todd, based on what we saw in run number 1, does she go right back to it and just clean it up?
I think so. I think she doesn't have a choice at this point, and she's going to want to really put an exclamation point on her runs to the judges today.
Mary, do you think there's a situation in boxing, they call it ring rust? Competition, snowboarding is a different beast. Can you step away from the sport for as long as she has and then pop back in and be at the level you were at?
I think not everyone can, but I think Chloe can.
She can.
She was riding in Europe this early season, and she was riding very, very well. She just is so good at what she does.
There's that 10 landing tight to the top of the lip. Comboing that into the switch 900, very similar run that she had going on her first go through. Switch backside 5. This is where she fell on run number 1. Is she going to get it here? Yep.
Oh, no.
Goes down on the 1080 once again. Uncharacteristic 2-run bobble for Chloe Kim. A lot of pressure on run number 3.
So Todd, it starts with that first hit for her, and again, she kind of got on the landing a little toe or heel heavy.
You know, she did make it though. She definitely adjusted for it still.
I'm just wondering if that's throwing her out of her mode, like in her head. She's like, got that one bobble.
I don't know. You can see it right here, Mary, when she comes in. It's not like she doesn't land solidly and pump out of that. She kind of has to counter correct on this first hit.
Yeah, that sets her up to be a little bit off, for sure.
Yep.
So, and like I said before, she's the kind of rider that can really hold on, but it is throwing her off her line.
Yeah, and there's that switch 900 into the switch 540 into the switch 1080. So, I mean, look, that run is incredible. Can she put down that 1080 at the bottom? It is easily the highest scoring run.
And this is where it really comes down to the mental game, I'm sure. Going back up there, finding that mental calm to be able to go into your third run.
It is something we just don't see is Chloe Kim at the bottom with not a huge smile on her face and just joy, joy, joy. She now sits on a 35.50, and it comes down to one final run for Chloe Kim as we check in with Tina Dixon, who has more on Maddie Mastro.
Yeah, and she did spend some time down here at the bottom of the pipe, walking around, just checking everything out. Spent some time also talking to her coach. They have just taken her down in a snowmobile, and I am getting word that she will not be taking her next 2 runs.
That is a bummer.
Yeah, the number 1 qualifier, Maddie Mastro, took a hard hit, Todd, on run number 1, Mary. This is, I mean, her health is the most important thing, but when you take a hit that hard,
Oh, totally. We all want Maddie to be totally A-OK, 100%, but also still a heartbreaker. She has that double crippler so on lock that it's so cool to see. I mean, we all really want to see her be able to land that run.
And, you know, she has a lot more season yet to go.
Yeah,
why risk it when you've got so much on the line?
She's 21. Maddie Mastro will certainly bounce back. 25 that she'll sit on. So she will get the points for just making the final, and she'll turn her attention to Mammoth coming up in a few weeks' time. But right now, with 1 run to go, Spain's Queralt Castellet leads the way with a 93. Saijutong of China sits in 2nd, and Saijutong of Japan in 3rd. Chloe Kim, the top-placed American, but she's had 2 falls, currently sitting in 5th with a 35.50. Third and final run in the Women's Snowboard Superpipe Final, presented by Toyota. Todd Harris, Todd Richards, Mary Walsh, and Tina Dixon with you as the sun now completely on board on the riders' left as they come down the half pipe. And this is Hirano Matsumoto going through that muscle memory. If she can get that first hit, that first trick, and land it clean, she's going to be off and running.
So here we go. Final attempts at it. If you're leaving anything left to chance, now it's time to batten down the hatches and put down a solid run. Third runs, always you tend to see the scores jump. If you can put it down, the judges want to reward you. So here we go, dropping in. Final runs here in the women's final. Giant frontside air to start off that run. You can see how huge that is on the air meter right there. And now she needs to keep that momentum up. towards the bottom. And Mara, I do see that kind of like with some of the less experienced riders, they kind of lose their mojo, their momentum as they come down towards the bottom of the pipe.
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a difference when you see, the top 3 qualified. You see the Q, the Maddie, the Chloe. They're keeping the amplitude up the entire time, which is something that's very important to the judges.
For Hirano Matsumoto, though, it's a full pull, so it looked like she might have backed off a little bit on her program towards the top, but she gets it top to bottom, so she will definitely bump up from 7th place with that 25.
That was a solid run, and I think we talked about it with women's slopestyle as well, is that this Dew Tour, we're seeing a lot of kind of newer competitors come in. The next generation is coming up. I mean, we see here right now with the Tomita sisters, with Haruna on screen right now. It's exciting watching the next gen rise.
Yeah, and it really is going to be exciting to see. They're even having that time between now and when the Olympics comes up. That's a lot of time to go and learn new tricks. So you never know what's capable. Now you may see a completely different rider at the Olympics as far as a big bag of moves. But this was a great run. 3rd run here. It would have been nice if she could have put that down in the beginning to build on it. But she's going to have to wait and see where this run sits with the judges.
Japanese contingent is strong here at Copper Mountain as they've got 4 athletes into the women's final. Haruna Matsumoto's score, it is a nice jump, 73.50, which pushes her into 5th place and moves Chloe Kim down to 6th. Sena Tomita currently sitting in 3rd place with an 86, coming off a 2nd place performance last week in the same half pipe at the Grand Prix, where Saijutong took the win.
So let's see, she's got beautiful frontside 900. She's going big. That 93.25 is a pretty Goliath score right now to eclipse.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to do at least your 900s. You're going to have to grab them. I think that's where Queralt has kind of raised the bar. You can't just slap grab stuff. You need to hold on to it through the rotation.
So 93.25 would give her the lead to move into 2nd place. She's better than an 89.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. The control in the air, that Stalefish 540, poking that back leg out. The judges like to see that because it shows that you have total control of the tricks and nothing is going wild style. 2 720s. Here comes that front 10. And just washing out. So, the theme here, watching the frontside 1080, you need to be so squared up with the other wall. You can't rely on your heel edge to dig in and save you here.
So Sena Tomita had a great run going. Not sure if it would have eclipsed Saijutong's 89 or the 93, but man, this was a clean run.
Yeah, here's what I was talking about, Merrick. You just getting that grab and holding on to it. So what is it about, try to explain why the judges think that's important to hold on to their spins, even though the board's attached to your feet.
Well, you don't want that to go anywhere. Obviously, it's style. Style is so important. Snowboarding is a creative pursuit, and we want to see everyone bring their individual aesthetic to their riding. That's what kind of makes snowboarding such a unique sport.
Yeah, absolutely. It's those grabs and the way that you punch out your front leg or your back leg shows your individual interpretation of the tricks that everyone's doing. Set yourself apart.
Yeah.
Ruka Tomita now set to go. Saw her sister just drop in, and she is sitting currently in 4th place just behind Sena with a 77.50. So to eclipse her sister, she needs an 86.25. To move into 2nd place, she needs better than an 89, and to take the lead, she needs better than a 93.
So we need to see some back-to-back 900s. That's what Queralt Castellet has brought to the mix this morning.
Look at that shot of the super pipe.
Now the sun is beginning to creep. That backside wall, you have a little bit of better visibility. Once you leave the lip, it's fine. You have great lighting, but that big shadow, you can see it right there. It does play into the rider's difficulty as far as being able to judge where you are,
especially coming out of the sun and back into the shadow. So here we go. Tomita,
back 9, backside 900 into the front side 720. Raising the bar on this run. We saw on her second run here, she had the 2 900s in her run. There's the second. Well, we're going to have to see where that goes. She did kind of a similar run to that she had her second. I thought she was a little low scored on her second run by virtue of her 2 900s.
I agree with that. And they were clean. They were smooth.
partner, but I think it's really, how high you do them. Can you get your hand on it? You can see right there in the slow-mo, it's the great revealer.
You talk about that being, Mary, a control issue when you can grab and hold it for very long, and the judges are definitely control freaks. They want to see that control.
Oh, totally. And also, it's a thing where that is a difficulty aspect, where if you are releasing the grab early, you're not completing the difficulty level of that trick.
That's right. The ultimate criticizers, the judges. You need to hold on to that grab the entire way around the rotation if you want to get the full credit for the trick that you're trying to do.
They are paid to criticize.
That's right.
Castellet's score of 93 probably not going to be threatened here, as Ruki's going to move up just a little bit, but not overtake. So she goes into fourth place with that 79 behind her sisters, 86 of the Tomita sisters, holding down third and fourth at the time. Castellet's 93 that she laid down on run number 1 is still there as we move on to the next Japanese competitor. First 4 riders to go will all be Japanese, and this will be the last one in Mitsuki Ono, the youngest at 17 from Yoshikawa City.
And you see there, she's doing a little muscle memory training up top. Trying to get that body ready for a big spin. So I'm expecting something, 1080-ish.
Ish.
When I say ish, I mean you don't want to cheat that 1080. You want to land fully committed.
No 1070s.
Here she comes. A lot of wind up. And contact with the lip once again. It's such a fine line right there, being able to pop out just enough to meet that transition very tight up top and landing on top of the lip. You're gambling.
Mary, it gives you an idea of kind of a rider she is. She could have backed that off.
Exactly. She's only 17, but she already has a reputation as pushing the limits.
Yeah.
She does not want to compromise and do a safety run. She never has.
Oh, see right here, watch as she hooks up on the deck on the 1080. At least her momentum was carrying her into the pipe and not on top of the deck. And unfortunately, we saw that earlier with Maddie Mastro.
Maddie Mastro, the #1 qualifier, knocked out of competition on her first one, which is a hard fall on the deck. So now it is a field of 7 competing for 3 spots on the podium. That'll take us to the current leader, Queralt Castellet of Spain. She's 32, 4-time Olympian, placed 3rd last week here at the Grand Prix, and she is on fire. Coming out, dropping a 93, a heavy score, Todd and Mary, on run number 1.
So Q on run number 2 was trying to add the 1080 into her run. I want to see her land it. If she doesn't, she's going to have to be stressed out and wait for Chloe Kim to come down. But here we go. I expect a very similar run that she's done her first 2, and we'll look for that 1080 on the final hit.
Being coached by 2-time silver medalist American Danny Cass, Queralt Castellet, the current leader, dropping in.
Jumps it into the switch backside 540, big one to start off that run. Into the switch 720 with the melon grab, poking that leg out over the deck. Into the front 9, dropping out of the sky on that one, into the backside 900. Here it comes, front side 1080. Will Q get this? Nope, front 7, played it smart, stayed up on her feet.
Not sure that's going to be better than her 93, Todd, but strategically,
there he is.
Danny Cass is saying, just what I told her to do.
I'll tell you what, though, her switch backside 540 to open up that run was the biggest one that we've seen her do today. So she's definitely going to get a little bit of boost by how high out of the pipe she went.
She got to feel pretty good about the way things have gone so far. And remember, coming off that 3rd place at the Grand Prix, she looks to be in a podium position right now.
I like that as she stalls her spin out with that extended leg.
Yeah, she just looks good in the air, and I think what's cool is we know she's mixing up the grabs. She's not doing any sort of stock grab. She's going a little bit more on the technical difficulty, and as well as pushing the style.
And between the walls, watch as she leaves the lip, she lands. There's not a whole lot of body movement going on when she's going across the flat bottom. She's calm, she's able to set those edges for those tricks and land them clean. So there's the mirror image of what she did up top in that 720. DK, the man right there. Hi, Dambo.
We mentioned Danny Cass, a 2-time silver medalist, part of the American sweep in the halfpipe in the Salt Lake Games in 2002. And how about that? A bump in score to a 95. So Queralt Castellet serving it up hot to the rest of the field, and she is now down in the crowd with Tina Dixon.
Yeah, and she's getting congratulated by the rest of the competitors. Competition's still not over, but Queralt, let's have a little chat here. A 95 on that run. We watched it. We were waiting for the 1080 at the bottom. 720. Just take us through that bottom because you still just cleaned it up and posted a high score.
Yeah, I mean, the idea was to get the back-to-back 9s and the 10 at the bottom, which have been working in practice, but for some reason, this spot felt a little different today, a little bit more under, so kind of set me up a bit, and I didn't land it, so now I was like, all right, go for it with a bit more speed and like snap it, and like you're gonna get it down, but yeah, I just went for the 10 because I knew I wasn't gonna land it, so having the back-to-back 9 pretty clean, I was like, just go, that's the best. If I can get the front 7 at the end clean and big, it's gonna be a sick run. Yeah, I think it was pretty risky to go for the 10, and doing that I didn't land any in practice today.
Well, a big score and 2 fantastic runs. Thanks, Queralt.
So Queralt has guaranteed herself a spot on the podium. With Maddie Mastro withdrawing from the competition because of injury, it comes down to the final 2 competitors. It'll be Saijutong of China, who currently sits in 2nd place, and then the reigning Olympic gold medalist in Chloe Kim will have the final say. That's a scary situation when you're sitting in 1st place, but Chloe Kim still is going to take a run.
Yeah, she's definitely put some distance though between her and what it will, what it will really take. It's going to have to be a very perfect run. Chloe does have those 10s, but we cannot discount the next run that's going to come down here. Sai is fully capable.
Tong Tong out of China, 28 years of age, coming off a big win last week at the Grand Prix. Can she bookend it? Her and Queralt Castellet were both on the podium. Queralt finishing 3rd, Saijutong finishing in 1st.
Here we go. This is that method, Mare, that we like to see. Huge.
So big.
11 feet out into a giant frontside 900. Much smoother on this run. Backside 540. Now this is where it gets very unique. That air to fake, we don't see that very much in competition. Into 1080. She knew that she had to do it, but Queralt has just dodged a bullet.
So Saijutong more than likely will stay in 2nd place for the time being with Queralt Castellet's 95. And wow, Todd, to your point, she knew what she had to do. I mean, stock run wasn't going to get it done.
Yeah, and I think it's great to see when the riding of others pushes the best to be even better. I think that's when you get the good show.
I totally agree. And it's interesting watching this because it is a different calculus this year. I mean, in typical years, this is a one-off event. And now we're building up to the Olympics, so they're trying to show that best riding, but also it's like, you have a long season to go until you get to Beijing.
Yeah, you sure do, but it's also about pushing the limits. No one wants to see anybody else fall.
Right. So it comes down to this. The final competitor to drop in is the 2018 Olympic gold medalist, Chloe Kim from Torrance, California, just 21 years of age, thinking about what she needs to do. Todd, she has all the ingredients to win this competition in that run. She just has to put it down.
And the question is, will she back off that 1080 at the bottom? Because maybe she doesn't need that. Maybe she's thinking, if I just do a huge one up top and do my switch tricks in the middle, maybe I just don't need that.
An 86 gets her on the podium. An 89 or better gets her in 2nd place. A 95, though, she's getting a 95.25 to take the win here at the Dew Tour.
What do you think, Mary? Do you think that is Chloe the type of personality that will just strategically shoot for a place on the podium?
She is a very good strategist, but I think she wants to do well. She wants to push the progression. She doesn't want to do the same run over and over again, so I think she will go for it.
Wow, a perfect front 10 into the switch 9, into the switch back 540, but here we go. Will this turn into a 720? Nope. It'll be 2 1080s in this run, and this is what we were coming to expect from Chloe Kim. So, where is that going to sit with the judges?
Wow. Big smile at the bottom. She is stoked right now.
Bringing the heat, not just because of the run, but I think the relief of getting back and doing exactly what she wanted to do.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit of that first contest back jitters in the beginning. But
so,
that's the Chloe Kim we know.
That was a 95. The 95 is Queralt. Is that a 95? 95 or better.
Mary, voice of reason?
Oh man, this is hard. Again, I don't envy the judges. I mean, 2 10s in a run, that's really big. I think there's a chance that she could unseat Q.
Yeah, so let's take a look at it. The first hit you do is a frontside 1080.
With a tail grab.
With the grab, stomped out into a pair of switch tricks. So you have to take into consideration the technicality. That was landed really, really smooth, able to get a clean pump out of it, into a switch frontside 900, into a switch backside 540, into a switch 1080.
Oh my goodness.
The 540 right there, it looked like she goes...
Yeah, she opened up early.
That was the only thing I saw that it was like, she seemed a little bit lost in air.
And then just ending the run off
but
with
this,
frontside 5, and that's all it takes. So the judges, I don't think they have a choice but to reward here. The 1080 and then into the frontside 540. That is going to be a monster score.
It's so good.
I'm thinking like 97.
And can you just, the relief, watch this as she comes in, lands it, back.
Yeah, 2 different styles of riding too between Q and Chloe.
And the first person there to congratulate her, Queralt Castellet. See, that's what you don't get in a lot of other sports. When were the other competitors cheering on for the person that's probably going to bump them down the ladder, and they're all cheering for her, and they're all smiling, they're all happy for her. As Chloe Kim, huge relief off her shoulders as she brings it in. How do you do? 96, Chloe Kim with the win.
And Chloe Kim is officially back.
I love that.
What a performance by all the women as Chloe Kim saves her best for last and gets the win on the final run. And she's standing by with Tina.
Oh, Chloe Kim. She's got to catch her breath, as would be expected with that third and final run, and with the 1080 at the bottom. The first 2 runs you were struggling on that. What was the pressure like for that third run?
So we actually started practice at 8:30, so it was super dark, and the minute the comp started, the sun came out, pipe changed a little bit, so I was going bigger, faster than I was in practice, so that had a lot to do with my struggle, but I'm never putting myself in that situation again. That was horrible, but I'm so happy I was able to land, seriously. Thank you guys so much for coming out and supporting us. We appreciate it.
To come back to Do Tour, it's early in the season. Beijing is right around the corner. What does it mean to win here?
I mean, it's amazing. Again, I'm just so grateful I was able to land. I can't really think about anything else right now, but it is crazy that the Olympics are coming up. I think this is a great way to start the season. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the year.
Fantastic third run. Congratulations, Chloe.
Thank you.
So the last athlete to drop in, the reigning Olympic gold medalist Chloe Kim, representing the United States, throws down a 96. Guys, let's think about this. She had a 32, then she had a 35.5, and she jumps up to a 96 to eclipse who's been riding phenomenally, Queralt Castellet.
I don't know if I've ever seen Chloe in that position, and
Right.
she says it herself, she doesn't ever want to be in it again, but it really speaks to her mental fortitude and her abilities that in the clutch she could pull through.
Yeah, and I just have to mention the elephant in the room is Maddie Mastro. She was the one that had the #1 qualifying score to bring her here. Unfortunately knocked out, but I think this would have been a dragged out, knockdown battle had Maddie been able to stay in the event today.
So 2 athletes go over 95. 95, Queralt Castellet. She had a 93 and a 95. But it was Chloe Kim. Remember, in this format, it's 3 runs, only your best run counts, and Chloe saves the best for last, a 96. Saijutong joins them on the podium in third with an 89. The Tomita sisters go 4 and 5. But what a performance, and we want to send our best wishes for a speedy recovery to Maddie Mastro, the #1 qualifier who got knocked out of the competition quite literally on run #1 as she took a hard fall and a shot just to the side of the face. So we hope that she's well and she can join us again for the next Grand Prix event, which is coming up the first week of January. Once again, Chloe Kim with the win, Queralt Castellet finishing in second, and Saijutong of China finishing in third place in the Women's Snowboard Superpipe Final presented by Toyota. We're not done here. Championship Sunday, the capper, the grand finale, the main event, Shaun White and company in the Men's Superpipe Final, and that's coming up just momentarily.
And there's Shaun with his coach, JJ Thomas, the bronze medalist from the 2002 Olympics in Salt Lake City. Probably one of the only people on the planet that I think is qualified to coach Shaun White as far as demeanor.
No question about it. He is a good fit for Camp Shaun White. Let's send it down to D.C. for the awards ceremony for the women's Superpipe final.
Superpipe finals presented by Toyota. In third place, representing China. Hands together for Zutong Tai. Yeah, Tong. One more time, put your hands together for Tong Tong, Zutong Tai, representing China. And in second place, representing Spain, she's already a 4-time Olympian on her way to qualifying for her 5th Olympic appearance. Let's hear it for Queralt Castellet. One more time, hands together for your second place finisher, Q, Queralt Castellet. And your champion out here today, doing it on the third and final run. Really setting the drama out there for us and making us sweat it out. Represent the United States of America, your defending gold medalist from the 2018 Winter Olympic Games. Let's hear it for the United States of America's Chloe Kim! One more time, let's get loud and proud for your champion, representing the red, white, and blue, Chloe Kim, and your podium out here for the women.
So Chloe Kim does Chloe Kim things. She saves the best for last, and she drops a 96 on the very last run. Todd, that's after 2 falls. Mentally, she was shaken, but she showed her stuff and came out and said, you know what? I'm just going to do my thing.
I thought it was really interesting for her saying, I'm never going to put myself in this position again. Just being able to make that conscious decision that I am never going to fall in the first run of a final ever again.
What a performance by all the athletes. Saijutong coming off that Grand Prix win last week. She comes to the big show here at the Dew Tour, back on the podium.
This is exciting. I feel like this is just the kickoff of the season. It's a foreshadowing of what we're going to see in the next couple months.
And like I was alluding to during the competition, it's still quite a bit of time. And, you know, we had kind of heard that Chloe Kim was bored of her run. So she went out and learned a bunch of new tricks. I mean, I can't wait to see that.
Mary, as you talked about, she spent a lot of time in Europe this season shaking off the rust. And there was no rust on her or Queralt Castellet. Danny Cass happy with his athlete's performance, finishing in second with a 95, but it was Chloe Kim at the very end, Todd, that came out swinging.
Yeah, she came in strong, throwing down a run. Now, what do you think? She thinks she's got that double cork frontside 1080 mare. Are we going to see that at the Olympics?
I think so. I mean, especially if it's Q, Maddie, her, the Japanese girls, the Chinese riders, there's going to be a lot of progression pressure there, I'm sure.
So that will wrap things up for the Women's Snowboard Superpipe final presented by Toyota. Congratulations once again, Chloe Kim, Queralt Castellet, Saijutong, and all the athletes that are competing in the final. What a show, what a championship Sunday. The men's halfpipe still to come. For Todd Richards, Mary Walsh, I'm Todd Harris. We'll see you in a moment. Dew Tour is brought to you by Mountain Dew. Do the Dew. Toyota. Let's go places.
It takes so much for the average kid to get to the mountain to go snowboarding.
It's not like, you know, skateboarding or basketball where you just go play wherever you want. You need a mountain, first of all, snow, the whole gear setup, tickets. Making it more accessible is super important for the growth of the sport.
My backyard started in around 2012. Started there, just a few rails, and then each year it grew and grew, and then I got put in this really cool opportunity to bring them to a couple resorts, and right now they're at Copper Mountain, Killington, and Woodward Park City.
The most beautiful thing about it is that it's free. Getting more kids boarding and giving them a spot to really like learn some tricks, jib, hang out with their friends. I've even taken a couple runs through Red's backyard, which is saying a lot.
Can't go after that.
Having Red's backyard here at Copper is pretty rad.
Everybody's got a jib, you know?
I'm looking up and I see the Red's backyard features in the street style. I'm like, okay, this is kind of incredible.
Red has accomplished so much at such a young age, and to be giving back to his community is really inspiring.
Giving back to snowboarding is rare, so props to Red for just thinking about others. It's a beautiful thing.
When I think about like what initially drew me to riding halfpipe, I think it was really guaranteed airtime.
Just when I saw snowboarding, it just was like eye-opening, and I just really saw the sky was the limit.
2 feet or 20, as long as you come back down 6 inches under the coping, it's like you never left. And that's the feeling that hooks everyone.
What amazes me about pipe riding is like they go big. Some kids just really sends it.
People like that big air, man. These guys go huge.
When I look at the pipe today and I think of where it came from to where it is now, the thing that doesn't change is whoever is going the biggest is the winner.
People like that danger factor. It's just what drives people to watch sports. It's nuts.
It's just come so far, but I don't think it's changed that much, the reasons why we do it.
The halfpipe is the essence of freestyling in snowboarding. It's kind of like all the other stuff came after with freestyle.
I grew up a vert skater on the East Coast and predominantly skated vert because that's really what we had, skated ramps. And when I had started snowboarding, originally I was like, oh, cool, I'll just do whatever I do on my skateboard. And it was so wrong because it didn't translate very well. A couple years went by and snowboards got better and the equipment was better. And I started to see half pipes in magazines. You started to see this parallel of, wow, you can really make it feel and look like skateboarding. In my fantasy land, I was like, okay, well, once we get a half pipe, it's just game on. I can just pretend to do all the things that I ever wanted to do on a skateboard in a snowboard half pipe.
When you look at halfpipe riding and where that began, you know, the Tahoe City halfpipe is kind of like this early thing in snowboarding. And when you look at snowboarding now, sure, it's on the Olympics, and I think the core snowboarding community kind of thinks it's rad, but dude, this is like part of the core of our sport of catching air.
My local resort was actually making a halfpipe. I couldn't really picture what a halfpipe was in my mind. I've seen some pictures. One kind of sticks out. It was Craig Kelly doing a slob air, and he was just leaning really into it. And I didn't understand where he came from because, you know, how did he get in that position in the air? But later, I found out that was a half pipe.
And front side lane, like number 16, Craig Kelly.
Kenny Mountain Snowboard Bash is the very first half pipe on the East Coast. It was 2 piles of snow that a snowcat pushed up, a bunch of shovels that everyone brought them from home, and you just went out there and started digging away at transitions and trying to scoop these things like you were scooping sand on the beach.
It was just all wacky and out of control all the way down.
If you were lucky, the sun didn't melt it out in a day or two, or you get a bunch of snow and now it's filled up and you got to do it all over again. It took a lot of time, a lot of manpower. They weren't even that good, but we were loving it. In those early days, because we were trying to essentially replicate skateboarding onto snow, the half pipes were built to mirror a vert ramp. The wheelbase of a skateboard and the effective edge of a snowboard are really different. There was a limiting factor in that you just needed a more elongated transition, and that's when things started to play with bigger transitions to accommodate the sport of snowboarding, as opposed to just trying to be skateboarding on snow.
Somehow, this construction worker from Vermont figured out how to feather a front loader to make perfect 8 or 9 foot transitions in a half pipe. And that was, you know, giant revolutionary leap as far as like smooth transitions. I finally got into the sport and started to see where the other influences were, especially on the East Coast. It was very race oriented. Like, let's go down the hill very fast in between gates and let's go for time. The people that were well established were not very skate influenced, just alpine, weird, like looked like mogul skiing, just sideways.
Yeah, looking good with that neon tie-dye swimsuit on.
As my generation came in, you know, there was guys like Jeff Brushy, myself, Chris Roach. We're all skaters first, and we basically brought the proper ways to grab, because for a long time, it was just wherever your hand hit was cool. And it wasn't until some, like, you know, really Puritan skaters came into this and said, no, like, you don't grab there, don't do this, don't do that. Like, a set of rules kind of came in, and those rules kind of basically dictated style from then till now. When the fork in the road happened, where slopestyle began to become a thing, or free riding and filming became a thing, people who spent their time hiking the pipe became pipe jocks. And I mean, to be good at anything, you have to be a jock. And what is a jock? It's just someone like who's dedicated to their craft, who goes out and trains, whether that means, I mean, back then it wasn't in the gym, it was like just reps in the pipe. We wouldn't ride the lift. We would hike a half pipe from 9 in the morning until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And that was our jocking out.
Jeff Brushy is the hottest of the East Coast freestylers, and a giant backside air. That's probably the biggest air we've seen.
At this point in time, we're talking like early 90s, late 80s, there was the European riders who were very heavily alpine. But then there was the West Coast riders like Shaun Palmer, who they were more freestyle oriented. And that's really where the sport began to go like this. And an event that really personifies that, and really where the fans came out, was the US Open in Stratton.
I feel like if you're not nervous during a contest, then it's like, I don't know, I feel like I always do a little better when I'm nervous.
When something new goes down, it's really usually based off of the rest of the field. You've landed the best you have. You're not in first, so you got to try something even crazier.
Sometimes it's hard to get yourself to do it, and sometimes in the moment of competition, you kind of forget about all those things and go for certain tricks, and that can be quite progressive.
You know, the longer you sit there at the top, the trick's gonna get no different. You're just gonna get more scared.
That's the best pressure to have, it's just from yourself.
For most of us, that feeling of perfecting something so difficult is the real reward.
It's an opportunity to really ride at your best. So the more that you do that, the better you're gonna be.
In the beginning, it was all happening so fast. We knew nothing but competition, and that was how we all traveled as a circus. We were, every single weekend, we were either in California, or we were in Vermont, or we were somewhere across the planet, but we all went as a pack. We didn't realize what your impact was on snowboarding culture as a whole until, once again, the US Open. where it was like you went to where the fans were, the real fans. It was like the truly passionate people that really just were excited that you were there to show them the best riding on the planet. At this point, the US Open was the biggest event of the year, but then it started to become commercialized and we started to see it on, on TV and people were coming after it and seeking snowboarding. The household names of snowboarders started to kind of basically happen. They became these icons of the sport.
The whole thing was so cool. It was changing every day. These guys were one-upping each other every day.
Go bigger than Brushy and Palmer. That was a good recipe. I thought like if I can be as technical as Craig and go as big as Palmer, then you can win contests.
You started to become aware of people knowing who you were. And that was like insane. And then to be a part of that where like you were maybe influencing another generation was crazy.
I grew up, I think about 9 miles from where the US Open was. And I went there as a spectator, long before I was a competitor. I remember getting Michelle Taggart's autograph, seeing Trisha Burns compete, Shannon Dunn, and I remember waiting in line to get Barrett Christie's autograph.
Been competing in the halfpipe all year, and as you watch her style, you can see why she does so well. She does a lot of the difficult.
Those are some of the women that I really just looked up to, and seeing where those women had taken snowboarding, all of a sudden that became a reality for me. I saw Nicola do back-to-back sevens, and I thought, I can do that.
When we look back, if something never changes, if everything stays the same as far as terrain and format goes, then it's a very hard place for snowboarding to grow. I think snowboarding's always kind of had that progression, right? Because we're strapped in, I think it allows us to obviously just being loose, chucking a back seven for your first time on a snowboard, you're probably gonna be okay, like chucking it on a skateboard or surfboard, your feet are flying. So, snowboarding really lends to that spinning.
It wasn't until the very first X Games where they brought in a format that was best run of 2. And that's when the progression happened because you could throw a run away. That's where we saw, someone did the first fakey-to-fakey 720 in competition. And there was there's moments in snowboarding that you can see that are like pinnacle moments, like when Thierry unveiled the Hawk and Flip, the inverted fakey 720.
The Hawk and Flip was like a cab upside down accident, or like, I think we were trying cab to McTwist.
Or like Mike Michalchuk brought his version of a backside 540 to the half pipe. So he basically just did a backflip on the backside wall and kind of changed the trajectory of snowboarding in that way.
Todd Richard, got the Wet Cat.
And then, some of the Europeans came in and they showed us that the 1080 was possible.
Was there a little bit of a grudge match going on? You came in second to Terje Hawkinson at the Worlds at South Lake Tahoe, and today you squeezed him by 0.3 of a point.
The only grudge match between Hawkins is because he blasted me in the face with champagne at the Worlds, and he ran away from me, and I couldn't get him back.
There's been great rivalries since I was a kid. Rivalries make it just that much more fun and that much more intense.
Rivalries are always fun. This has existed in sports forever. David versus Goliath, right? This is the nature of competition.
There was always people that I looked at that were problematic in my quest to try to stand on top of the podium when I was like in full contest chomping mode. Terje was one of those people.
The Terje-Todd rivalry was huge, especially because Terje was this kind of like mystical figure that you were lucky to see. It was like a Terje sighting.
he was the best. And in order to bring the best out of you, you always need the boogeyman.
I just remember I wanted to go in the pipe and try to have more fun than everybody. And having fun was going bigger than everybody.
When he came to the events, you wanted him to do good just to keep the legend going, but Todd was my guy, so I was like, give him a run, Todd. You can beat him, I don't care.
Todd Richards is a really good competitor. I only felt him as a threat if I crashed.
I wasn't even thinking about him. You know, I would watch his run, but it was all about me trying to do the best run I possibly could.
Just seeing those two battle was really exciting for me. Todd, I think, really became the first great technical halfpipe rider.
But after that, you know, this was coming up into the Olympics in 1998, and honestly, Terrier kind of bowed out of competition right around 1998. It's kind of when he disappeared from halfpipe comp.
Obviously, if somebody that don't know by now, it's he helped building up a sport. This other federation comes in just for the capital, and they start sports dictating all these people, and basically just taking a format somebody else created. And I understand a lot of people want to go to the Olympics and have their face on the cereal box and get to a late night show. But if I ever regret not going to the Olympics, I wish I had gone. I'm like, no.
When I think about the history of the Superpipe, I imagine, you know, those drawings of the caveman, you know, turning into the businessman running.
Terrier is incredible. I hand plant. Oh, he slid down the wall a little bit. That's going to slow him down.
We were hunched over. It hurt a lot, to now it's just these huge, colossal, perfectly manicured things. I think right around 98 is really when the pipe began to change. Going from 12 feet to 15 feet seemed like a lot, but it just made sense. It was just so much easier for us to ride it. It felt like you could just flow through the walls instead of fighting to stay in the halfpipe and not flying into the middle of it. There was a couple people within snowboarding that were really instrumental in working with the people that roomed the pipes. Frank Wells was one, Jimmy Scott was another, and they really worked with the guys that were cutting the pipe to make the best possible walls for us to ride.
So I started working at Snow Summit, Big Bear Lake, Southern California in 1992. I was part of that era where we were still digging them by hand. That was how they were done until a really big game-changing moment, which was the pipe dragon. The first pipe dragons had essentially a conveyor belt system that took a series of metal panels and shaved upward on the wall. It was saving so much time in hand digging and creating such a good consistent shape. So as the tricks got more progressive and demanded that the pipes get more consistent, bigger transitions, cleaner, consistent walls, that only allowed tricks like double corks to all of a sudden become part of the equation. Anything Terrier's doing has always been revolutionary to the sport. He started creating the Arctic Challenge. It was definitely placing a higher emphasis on big transitions, whether it's pipe or quarter pipe. I think that definitely had a bearing on what's possible and then ultimately what would shape where things went with halfpipe riding.
So I decided actually, let's just make the pipe bigger because we have straps on, we can go a lot bigger than skateboarders. But that's when we started the Arctic Challenge. They went from 12 feet to 15 feet, 18, 20 feet. And that's kind of like the birth of the super pipes. We were hand shaping them. So we just started focusing on the quarter pipe then. It was really cool when people felt it was a little safer because there was more tranny to ride. You can actually see how big we can go.
Now, when you go from 18 feet to 22 feet, this is where the whole animal changes. If you drop into a 22-foot deep super pipe right after you rode an 18-foot deep super pipe, and you took the same amount of speed the amount of centrifugal force would squash you in the bottom of that transition because it's just so much more. 18 foot, you can ride straight up, straight down. 22 feet, now you have to take a line that goes down the half pipe. You're no longer riding it like a pendulum. We went from like having 8 hits, now we're down to 5 or 6. So it's a lot of adapting. It's so different than what it was.
I remember when snowboarding became an Olympic sport in 1998, and I had recorded that competition on a VHS tape. I knew then and there as a 14-year-old that this was exactly what I wanted to do. If you look at the 2002 Olympics, that kind of flew under the radar. Salt Lake City was unlike any event I'd ever been to. I knew that I had to pull out all the stops and do my run the best I had ever done it. I went bigger, faster, and did my run more perfect than I ever had, and I won the Olympics. It was the first American to win a medal, and it was snowboarding.
We heard Kelly won gold, and so we're like, okay, that's some good momentum. And I just said, what was it like out there? She's like, it's insane. I go, what do I need to do? Tweak every grab as hard as you can and just go big.
There hadn't been a US sweep in a very, very long time at the Olympics, and all of a sudden it happened with the sport of snowboarding. Snowboarding was thrust in the mainstream America.
So in between 2002 and the next Olympics in 2006, this little kid Shaun would show up.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit up the pipe.
Around 2004, I remember Shaun not being so little anymore and starting to win everything.
Making the Olympics for the United States snowboard half-pipe team is never easy, as you know, but something changed, and the main difference was the name Shaun White.
When I was 16 years old, I had this amazing breakout year. So 15, I didn't make the Olympics, and 16, I pretty much won everything I entered. And once I got a taste for it, that's all I wanted. There was no other place. Second place, third, I mean, I just wanted to win.
Shaun White has won his first Burton US Open.
It was the Shaun show, and he'd been waiting 4 years to win that Olympics, and he showed up and did it. He delivered. That was big.
By the time my turn came around to compete in Torino in 2006, it was a highlighted event. All the eyeballs were on it, and when I won, it changed everything for me.
Shaun was like one of the first people that I've seen play chess with snowboarding. It's probably the most brilliant competitor that the sport has really ever seen. That was really the big breakout moment for a superstar in snowboarding.
In 2009 season, right before the 2010 Olympics, the sport changed big time, specifically at the New Zealand Open.
The half-pipe trick selection changed to, I want to do a 1080, but I want it to be kind of double dipped. That's going to add another flavor for the judges.
These guys show up flipping twice, and we're all looking. Only 3 guys had double corks, really. The rest of us are looking at each other like, seriously? Great. How do we do this now? Who wants to try this? No one.
I'm not only spinning 1,080 degrees, but I'm also flipping twice.
It was a lot to comprehend. I remember watching that final and just going, are you kidding me? It jumped overnight. I mean, that was probably the biggest leap I've seen in the sport ever. We saw Louis Vito drop in and do the first frontside double ever in competition. Shaun went after and did one.
Shaun, Mason, and Luke, their air awareness was unlike many at the time.
Luke Matroni had one.
and it became a doubles comp.
Luke was on like a whole other level, almost like gymnast style. The double corks brought in new fear that you would deal with. You know, a commitment maybe is what I would call it.
You know, I've been waiting my whole life to see him land something like that, and I know he has too, so I'm proud of the kid. Proud of my little brother.
A whole new game these days, you know? Everybody's doubling. People are a little scared. Me, myself, scared for sure.
It wasn't the same game before where it was like kind of cool, loose. The stakes were too high. Going from cork spins to double corks, just the danger and the speed level and the amplitude it takes to do all that was big time. It was pretty scary. Hands down, that's all it was scary. You ready?
The credit I would give is really to Shaun and Kev. Those two had this head-to-head combat going with like who was gonna push the level of half-pipe riding beyond what it was. You know, we had big goals. Shaun made his own half-pipe and went to go learn these tricks. Foam pit. Kev saw that happening and was like, fine, I'm doing the same. Kev calls up Nike, wants his own half-pipe with an airbag, and he brought all of his friends. He brought Jack Matrani, myself, Luke, and was just like, let's learn these tricks. And my mindset was like, let's do this. At that point, though, it didn't feel like snowboarding was changing, but what it did feel like was, what's my double gonna be? When you're doing a double, like, you better commit to going upside down twice, because if you go 1.5, things are going wrong. I wasn't scared whatsoever until 2009 when Kevin had his brain injury. I mean, we thought he was maybe dead or a vegetable for the rest of his life, and all from wanting this trick that he felt like would make his run that much better than the next guy. I was getting really mad at snowboarding because, and these tricks, because it like damn near killed my friend, and it was just like, is this worth it?
Canadian freestyle skier Sarah Burke has died from injuries sustained in a training accident earlier this month. The 29-year-old died 9 days after crashing at the bottom of the Superpipe during a training run in Utah.
When Sarah passed away, I just thought, this is it. I am done. I don't want to risk my life.
Burke was the best-known athlete in her sport and played a big role in getting freestyle skiing added as an Olympic sport starting in 2014.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it, honestly, that she died, because she was the star of skiing. And you don't think that stuff happens to people like that, and it did. It was rattling. And especially right after Kevin got hurt so severely the year before, it was just like, I was out.
When things switched to the 22-foot wall, the entire way that you rode a half pipe really changed. It was a real dividing point in the sport where it really stopped one entire generation, and a new generation really started from 2010 on. Apart from Shaun and I, there was a handful of people who made that jump, but the fundamental aspects of the sport changed dramatically.
Halfpipe has changed, tricks have changed, but the one thing that has remained the same since 2006 was this kid from Carlsbad, Shaun White. You had been competing with him at that point. You had seen that he's become this dominant force. I was doing the commentary every single weekend. It was like Shaun was winning. Like there was no way he wasn't going to win. Did you at any point predict that he would reclaim the gold medal and take himself to this new, even crazier place than he was before?
think we all knew leading up to that 2010 games, the only one who could even touch him or had a chance at him was Danny Davis.
The story about Danny Davis is this: he has every trick necessary to take top honors here as well as make the Olympic team.
Danny Davis had that unfortunate accident and got hurt right before the Olympics. And so once Danny was out, Shaun just had to show up and do what he could do, and he did.
His drive to win is push progression to where it's at. I mean, that's why it is so dangerous, because he's trying to do tricks that other guys can't do or don't have, so he can go in and just have it locked up. But to do that, you have to risk your life. The stakes are high, but these guys are pros and they all want to win, because if you win, your life changes for the better, as long as you don't mess it up. When you're on the top of the half pipe getting ready to do a crazy run, the most fear comes before you drop. Just sitting up top thinking about it, that's the scary part.
I would go for a walk, just get away from people. I just wanted to get out of my own head, talk to myself, basically convince myself I could do it.
It's you versus the half pipe.
I definitely get a lot of butterflies and a lot of anxiety. You just kind of embrace it and then it goes away.
The absolute worst thing ever, you're just like bristling with energy, like it's time for you to go, you run, and they go, hold, we gotta hold.
Dew Tour is brought to you by Mountain Dew. Do the do. Circle K. Take it easy.
Yo. Yeah, I'm good. Gonna pack up soon, head out to Copper for Dew Tour. Yeah, I'll be there. Awesome, I'm so excited. Yeah, it's looking good. I can't wait to see you guys. I'm pumped. It's time to get back in the gym though. When I'm not snowboarding, I'm in the gym, I'm training, I'm trying to become a stronger athlete, so these tricks become easier, and it's a grind whether you're on snow or off snow. Competing for my country, it's been a goal of mine since I was a young snowboarder, so I wake up every day when I go train, when I'm learning a new trick or making a plan for a run, I'm thinking about Beijing. It's been a challenge, it's been a long journey of taking baby steps to finally see the results, but I think it's finally paying off, and I'm really excited to put it to show this December.
return to the heart of the Centennial State. We're here at beautiful Copper Mountain, Colorado. It's Dew Tour 2021.
The mindset of an athlete is as sharp as the skills they have forged. Balanced with natural instinct. This combination is what propels them. This year's goal is a battle against the world and their ultimate selves. A lifetime to get here today. The opportunity of a lifetime ahead.
If competition snowboarding wasn't nerve-wracking enough, then add the Olympic hype to it. You're playing this game of like chess somewhat.
Dan Davis, he has every trick necessary to make the team.
It's the second Olympic qualifier of the year, so a lot's at stake.
Hello, thank you for playing, everybody else.
A good finish here can kind of lock in your spot for the Olympics.
Oh my God. It used to be where I thought the USA would always have a good medal count for snowboarding. Now it's like total guessing game.
Looking to make an impact.
Halfpipe snowboarding is at a level right now that has never been seen before. It's at a level that people once deemed impossible.
We need some big kahunas to do what we're doing, and it can be quite scary at times.
Now it's this new, absolutely insane generation of girls just pushing the level. There's a lot to be excited for, and I'm really looking forward to going to my second Olympics.
This has been my life since I can remember. I think now I'm at a point in my career where this will be my last time.
Shaun White. Oh boy, he is going for the win.
Just want to say thanks.
Put your hands together for Shaun White.
And I'll see you up there at the event.
The stakes are high here at the Winter Dew Tour. The world's best snowboarders have gathered today in Copper Mountain, Colorado to compete in the Superpipe, an event with U.S. Olympic qualifying on the line. A strong group of Americans are on a quest for the podium, and they're led by the greatest pipe rider in the sport's history, Shaun White. To come out on top, they must take on an elite group of Japanese pipe specialists that have surged to the top of the world rankings. Hello everybody and welcome to the Rocky Mountains alongside snowboarding icon Todd Richards. I'm Todd Harris. Tina Dixon will join us momentarily. Todd, what is the level of riding we expect to see here today, and how do the Americans get to that podium?
Well, you know, we've got a lot of talent right there on screen. Taylor Gold, he has a completely different approach to riding this pipe, and he has a different line than everybody else, so he's going to play to his individual strengths. Also, we have Chase Josie and that guy right there, Shaun White. So, strategy for Shaun White, I don't think he's going to out-tech the Japanese riders right now. They have that crazy triple cork that was just like debuted just months ago in Europe. But Shaun is able to go 5 to 6 feet bigger than everybody else. So if I was JJ Thomas, his personal coach, telling him what to do, send it through the roof.
Send it, no question about it. Shaun White, of course, a 3-time Olympic gold medalist. This is an American qualified. So despite the fact that there's a lot of international athletes here, Todd, they need to focus on points and podiums.
Yeah, so there's a dual competition that's happening right now out here. Now, you know, Shaun White is in a comfortable position. You know, they know, the U.S. team knows that he is the secret weapon when it comes. But Taylor Gold, Chase Josie, Chase Blackwell, all of these guys are just pursuing points right now. And the way to get there, you try to get yourself on a podium. That's almost a guaranteed lock, or you keep belting out those points and finding yourself in the running.
Good look at the Superpipe here at Copper Mountain. It is in pristine condition. The competition format today, 10 riders made the final. They each get 3 runs. Only the best run counts. It's out of a score of 100. Overall impressions, Todd, are what the judges are looking for, and they've seen these guys. They've traveled with them around the world. They know what to expect. The judges, though, they're going to have their hands full because there's your criteria. And walk us through what test.
Let me break this down. There's a whole bunch of words right there. Basically, this is what you got to do. You have to go huge. You have to put back-to-back technical tricks above the lip. You need to hold your grabs, look smooth between the walls, and just really make the judges excited about your riding. That's it. Big impression on the judges and throw down.
Take a look at the start list here for the Superpipe competition presented by Toyota. Quite a few American flags on there, but the Japanese have been dominant. They will have the final 3 saves as the top 3 qualifiers. Shaun will be the 4th to last to go. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Before we get to the actual competition, let's check in with the 3rd member of our team. Here's Tina Dixon.
And Todd, watching practice, these are the types of conditions as a competitor you want to compete in. The pipe is smooth, it is fast, and the guys have been going big, including American Shaun White. Now, a week ago, he competed in this half pipe. He had some bobbles, but since then has had time to clean it up. I spoke to his team earlier, and they said Shaun is more present and in the moment than ever before. And also something to note, Shaun feeds off of a crowd, something half pipe contests haven't seen in a while. But if you look at the walls of the half pipe, they are crowded with people. So that could also work to Shaun White's favor, guys.
All right, thank you, Tina. Much more from you as the day progresses. There you see the 22-foot walls, the super pipe here at Copper Mountain. The fans now are 5 deep as they get ready to see the world's best compete here on a picture-perfect day. We had the opportunity to ask some of these athletes what it takes to conquer the super pipe.
It's really an amazing thing, the sport of snowboarding, because it's one of the only sports where, you know, I can invent something tomorrow and be the best.
The half pipe, it's 22 feet, made basically entirely of ice.
More or less, this thing becomes this almost ice sculpture in a way. Half-pipe snowboarding is so cool because you get 5 hits to express yourself and set yourself apart from the rest of your competitors.
Trying to go as big as we can possibly go.
You want to make the crowd scream by going 20 feet out. And you also want to have some variety and really just show that you have your own style.
You know, there's that element of danger. You're flying down the mountain as fast as you can, dropping into a 22-foot wall and then flying out, hoping to do multiple flips.
These tricks are big. They're dangerous. They're nerve-wracking when it comes to learning them, doing them in a competition run. And you have to be 100% in it and 100% focused.
These tricks need to be done with confidence.
Overwhelming confidence.
Yeah, the risk is very real. I just turn up my music and just go. You know, I think half-pipe riding always goes through a big burst when the Olympic qualifying year comes around.
Half-pipe did a leap that I haven't seen since 2010. It went from no one doing a triple to 4 guys landing a triple. The sport changed. It just took a huge leap.
And I'm sure somebody will lay down the first competition triple cork here this year. That's what you're going to see out there, a lot of new tricks and a lot of new combinations.
So the stage is set. Dew Tour 2021 from Copper Mountain, Colorado. 10 men have made the final. We'll kick things off with Joey Okeson, just 19, out of Southbury, Connecticut. And we talked to him about representing the East Coast.
My inspiration, I mean, mostly just making it out of the East Coast alone was pretty cool, being the only rider on the U.S. team from the East Coast. Just trying to do well for Vermont, represent Vermont, Connecticut, where I'm from, and just be one to inspire younger snowboarders.
Oh, I'm very familiar with that.
He's one of your people.
I'm very familiar with trying to bust out of the East Coast and make a name for yourself. It seems like the entire snowboard industry is laser focused on the West Coast. That is changing. A lot of talent in the Midwest, and so much talent coming out of the East.
Okay, what is the difference, though, Todd, as far as styles? Do you see different styles from riders from the East as opposed to the West?
The different style when I was growing up is a icy pipe like this is nothing. This is the softest day in New England that you will get during the season. But, you know, it does factor into when you look at a guy like Joey, the way that he approaches, he's very used to using his edges and riding a frozen concrete super pipe like this. It's all about edge control.
So here we go, the men's super pipe final presented by Toyota, off and running with Joey Okeson of the USA to start things off. And how about that for the start?
Giant double up and over, double inverting on the first hit, getting a little bit lost in the air, trying to whip his hips around on run number 1. So Joey Okeson, this will be his debut at Dew Tour. This is the biggest event he's ever competed in. Made it into the finals. He's got 3 runs to put it down, so this will be a throwaway. He's got 2 more left.
So Joey coming off the Revolution Tour, the Rev Tour as they call it. It's the Advancement Tour, but what a way to introduce yourself to the folks of the Dew Tour.
All right, he needs to switch to decaf here. He's a little over-amping coming into this run. I understand it, man. He's got nerves, and he wants to show up and throw down. You see right there, getting a little bit lost on his snap into that trick, but he saved it. He definitely saved it. I think he was trying to snap into a backside 1260, but somehow just kind of opened up after that first initiation of the rotation, and he saved it though. He's got 2 more runs. to stay on his feet. Youngest competitor out here representing East Coast.
This is Valentino Guselli out of Austria at just 16, stepping out from Australia at just 16.
This young Australian right here is strong. He's been under the tutelage of Scotty James, the legend out of Australia. Also, Tora Bright, gold medalist from the 2010 Olympics. Starting things off, switch stance method, absolutely gigantic, going huge. Look how giant he's going. Now this is what the judges like to see. It is very easy for them to reward when you're going 15, 20 feet out of the pipe. Big double 1080 to land that run. Great way to get his campaign for this final started. That is going to be a monster score.
The 16-year-old from Australia, Valentina Guselli, steps up and hits one out of the park on run number 1.
And talk about hitting it out of the park on hit number 1. The switch stance method air. This is so difficult to do. It is a very awkward trick to master. Not many people have. And that was giant. And then straight into this. Over 17 feet high on that double cork 1080. This kid is not afraid to let that board run. You see right here, just well above the fans' heads, giant frontside 900. Snapping into the backside 900. He's basically just flying around out there.
The youngest competitor in the field, Valentina Guselli out of Australia on his first run.
Just crushing. And then ending this run off with another huge, gigantic double cork 1080. No mistakes all the way down. Started off very technical with that switch stance straight air. Boom.
16.
Great way to start off a final. Let's set the momentum, boys. We got it going. Let's have a battle.
So an 83 for Valentina Guselli out of Australia. That will be the mark to beat. That is a great opening run for him.
10 athletes here in this final.
You are looking at Jan Scheer, two-time Olympian, coming off a third-place performance at the Grand Prix at Copper just last week. Todd, we talk about this format. It's 3 runs. Only your best run counts. He used that to perfection last week because he was sitting in about last place, and in his third and final run, he launched himself onto the podium.
Yeah, it just, like you said, it just takes one. And you've got to risk it all to gain it all out here. So what that means is you've got to take big risks right off the top. Put a huge move to start your run. That'll show full commitment. Big backside 900 tail grab, slow rotating. Straight into frontside 1440. This is a great run so far. The double cork 10, the 1440. Giant frontside 1260. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got a barn burner of a final starting. This is just the beginning.
The first 14
This is first runs of 3, and they are already heating up, putting the judges to the test as Jan Scheer comes out a very technical run.
And you know why I like this? And it's very selfish of me. I want to see this crazy triple cork everyone's been talking about. And if people continue to have runs like this, bumping scores up, doing these frontside 1440s and these gigantic frontside 1260s, we're going to see the Japanese riders unleash the dragon.
1440s, come on.
1440s as setup tricks, Harris. And then look at this right here, frontside 1260, and then ending that run off with that beautiful alley-oop. But just, my gosh, look how much distance he's carrying down the pipe. And then the alley-oop front 5 stalefish, boom. This is, oh man, this is going to be so rad. All day long to watch this kind of level. We haven't seen a pipe final with this much electricity basically since the Pyeongchang Olympics, and that was probably the craziest snowboard final I'd ever seen.
So Jan Scheer wasting no time, unleashing an amazing first run, and he is going to go to the top of the leaderboard. An 88 for Scheer, so some room for improvement.
And that run right there to get an 88. That means that the judges are anticipating more insanity. They got to, pace themselves.
One of the 4 Americans to make the final, Taylor Gold, made the Olympic team back in 14, finished in 14th place out of Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Of course, you know about his sister, Ariel Gold, Olympic medalist in her own right, who has retired and Taylor's still going strong. The key, Todd, we've talked about Taylor. He has the skills, he has the tricks. He's got to stay healthy, and he's got to be consistent.
And not only does he have the tricks, but he has a completely unique way of interpreting what a great line is. Now watch on hit number 3. He's going to bring something special. Here we go. Straight into it. Giant McTwist, inverted 540. That's kind of the pace setter. Into the front 12. Now right here, hit number 3, up and over twice. Will this be the 1080? Yes, it will. Stomps it out. Will he bring the switch McTwist? He does. This is the run we've been waiting to see from Taylor Gold. Will he put this down? Yes, he does. I've been waiting to see that run from him for at least 3 years. I see it on Instagram. I see it in social media. I've been talking about it. The way that he will bring it to this final is with crazy technical tricks like that switch McTwist out of that double Michael Chuck 1080. McTwist to start this run off. Drifting, stylish, well above the lip. Frontside 1260. Here that is right here. Frontside 12, grabs tail, brings it around, and then into the trick that only he dares to step to. The double Michael Chuck. The off-axis, double flipping, backside 1080 as a set-up trick
that
for
last
this.
180.
Switch stance McTwist, the mirror image of what we saw him start this run off on. And that was a setup trick for the capper, the switch 1080. And like I said, I've been waiting to see this run for a very long time. He's been waiting to do this run. I've seen it on social in practice.
Now you see it on the drone.
And now I see it on the drone. That switch McTwist, opening up early, setting it up. He has got to be so stoked right now. He's been working so hard.
Look at this.
Taylor Gold. That is, oh man, this final.
Yeah.
This final.
Already off and running as Taylor Gold throws down maybe the best run we've seen from him in years. And he will go to the top of the leaderboard, the first man to go into the 90s.
Wow. Unreal.
We're just 4 athletes in. 4 Americans made the field of 10. We just saw Taylor Gold throw down the most impressive run we've seen from him in a long time, a 92 to set the bar. Jan Shear dropped an 88. The youngster, Valentino Guselli of Australia, finished the 83. So now we move on to the top, and this is Chase Josie out of Sun Valley, Idaho. Starting in a sport that was really a father-son pastime, and here he is now trying to qualify for the Olympics.
So you see right there in the green jacket clapping his hands, that's Olympic halfpipe coach JJ Thomas, no stranger to the podium himself, giving the words of wisdom. How do you approach it now? You've seen everyone throw down. Are you going to feed off the energy, or are you going to become intimidated by it?
JJ Thomas, part of that American sweep of the halfpipe in 2002. He walked away with a bronze medal.
Chase Josie, opener, frontside 1080. Switch 900 into a switch backside 1080. Here we go. Double chuck comes around. I'm going to keep saying it. Frontside 1260, a little bit off of his rotation, but going for it.
So the very last hit goes awry for Chase Josie out of Sun Valley, Idaho, but that was a beautiful run up into that last hit.
Yeah, and he does the switch tricks. He's got a great switch line in the middle. He's got that switch frontside 900. A little bit of a limp down there. Something's up. These landings are very hard when you don't nail them perfectly. Greases this 1080 right here. Sets him up. Switch stance. Coming in the opposite of his natural stance. Clicking into a giant switch stance 900. Lands, sets that toe edge, a little bit of a skid out, then into the switch backside 1080. I'd like to see that a little bit bigger, completing that rotation kind of below the lip. Into the switch chuck, up and over twice. We saw Taylor Gold turn that into a 1080. And then straight into the 1260 to end off this run. A little wild without the grab. I think that's why he opened up early and comes down and kind of pinches himself there in the trough of the transition.
So Chase Josie, as Todd mentioned, came out limping just a little bit. That 29.25 becomes a throwaway for the American.
30 seconds.
Beautiful day in Copper Mountain for the final day of Dew Tour 2021. And the main event, the men's Superpipe final presented by Toyota. Pipe is running extremely fast right now. The conditions could not be much better for Germany's Andre Hoflick out of Berchtesgaden.
So Hoflick is going to have to go huge. So what we've seen so far that put up the big score, technicality right off the bat. That frontside 1260 into the double chuck. You know, there's an argument. Do you do a big straight air, a big a style air in it? Well, if you're going to do it, it's got to be above 20 feet high right now for it to even make a difference. Andre Hoflick going into his switch method air, getting loose, a little bit of a syringe air, if you will, but somehow still back on his line. Giant front 12. So getting back into it, this will be a practice run. Huge backside 900 melon grab him with that front hand into the double cork 1080. So that's a throwaway. That first air, he missed the grab. And that kind of shows you how difficult a switch method is, the switch stance method. You have to be patient. You have to wait for that board to come up into your hand before you tweak it out, because it is, you are riding the opposite of a natural stance, and so it is just that much more awkward. And then here, look at this giant frontside 1260, dipping that shoulder. Once again, coming around, setting that edge perfectly. Backside 900 well above the fans' heads. And then ending it off on that 1080, but just not able to put his feet down underneath him. He knows it's a throwaway. This one will go right in the office trash can.
But you see the potential.
The potential is there. He's got to grab that first air. He's got to do it huge. We've seen just the level that has been kicked right now.
So Hoflick's score comes in as a 23.75, which has him in 5th place. Current standings in the men's Superpipe final presented by Toyota has American Taylor Gould on top with a 92, Jan Shears sitting in 2nd, and the young Australian Valentina Guselli sitting in 3rd with an 83 as we push into the start. What a heavy event this is. 10 of the world's best half-pipe riders have converged here in the Rocky Mountains, and none better than the 3-time Olympic gold medalist, the defending Olympic gold medalist in the half-pipe, Shaun White, 4-time Dew Tour champion at 35 now, originally from Carlsbad, California. He's going to take a long, hard look at this. J.J. Thomas with some final words.
Here's what I want to see. I want to see Shaun White play to his strengths and go absolutely bonkers, ballistic. Big power pump straight into a gigantic frontside 1440 from Shaun. Into that double 10. Going huge the way Shaun White does it. This will be the double McTwist 1260, the move that Shaun invented. And washes. So drama.
So Shaun White fans, don't worry. He's got 2 more runs to make it right. He'll get back with J.J. Thomas. J.J.'s got the best view. He'll tell him exactly what he did and did not do well there. So Shaun will slide himself down. This will be a throwaway score for him. But tied up into that last hit, though, that was a pretty fine run. I think that's probably a top 3 run from him.
That's the first time I've seen Shaun White, as he checks his binding out right there, he might have snapped the binding. But to start your run off with a frontside 1440 as a setup trick. Now we saw him go and get that gold in Pyeongchang with back-to-back 1440s. I think he's just testing the water right now to see where this score would put him. A little bit of a scrub around on that 1080. You want to line that and square that up with the other wall if you want to have it be perfect. And then this move right here, the double McTwist 1260, dipping his shoulder twice, coming around 1,260 degrees of rotation, but not able to get that final whip of the hips around to square him up. Now, Shaun invented that trick. If he can nail that, it's going to be a decent score.
Binding throw on the 3rd hit.
Oh, so the binding breaks on his 3rd hit, so he'll go back up there and get a quick wrench on there, get that adjusted and moved out. Final 3 competitors, all from Japan. We'll start things off with Yuto Totsuka, coming off a 2nd place performance in the same half-pipe at the Grand Prix last weekend. And you want to see the evolution of half-pipe riding, just watch the next 3 riders.
Let's talk for a second about what kind of forces would it take to actually break a binding mid-air.
Oh my.
There's a lot of, there's a lot of G-force in this thing, a lot of torque put on the bodies, especially in the legs when you're setting that edge and wanting to go huge like Shaun White does. You will snap plastic. Here we go, straight into the first hit. Totsuka, giant front 14 to start his run. Into the switch 1260, into the switch backside 1080. Totsuka on one right now, backside 900. That's the most casual move we've seen so far. Into the frontside 1260, immaculate. Dude, what is going on right here?
Wow. Yuto really feeling it at just 20 years of age. He is in his prime.
Okay, let's hold on here. I need to get a grasp on reality. Front 14 to start this run off. That's a setup trick. First trick out the gate. Into switch. Front side 1260. Into switch. Backside 1080. And then here, I'm just going to do a 900 because I've got nothing else to put there. And then into the front 12 to bang out that run. That is going to be a gargantuan score.
Mark to beat right now, put up by American Taylor Gold, is a 92. 3-run format, only the best run counts, as the fans are now 5 deep on that rider's right wall. Look at this.
Spam! Puts that thing down with authority. What a crazy run. What a crazy final. I'm tripping out right now.
It's the first run of 3, and Yuto just dropped this. We'll see what the judges, they like it to the tune of an 85.50.
How is that? How are we at a place in snowboarding where that run is in 3rd place?
Taylor Gold leads, Jan Shearer in 2nd, Yuto Totsuka of Japan sitting in 3rd, Shaun White with a fall on his first run currently in 5th. Top 2 competitors to go. It'll be Ruka Hirano, and then it'll be Ayumu Hirano, no relation. Ayumu, of course, the 2-time Olympic silver medalist, will have the final say as the #1 qualifier. But first, it's Ruka. First place last week in the same halfpipe at the Grand Prix.
So I'm looking for, from the Japanese, I'm looking for back-to-back 1440s. And come on, give me the triple.
Oh,
we've been talking about it. You don't highlight something like that on Instagram and then not debut. And I think this is the perfect storm right now for us to see it. Dropping in, switch into this first hit. Switch stance, backside 1080. Into backside 1260, pivot around right under the lip. Giant frontside 1080. This is another insane run. Switch 1440 with a washout.
So he goes 10, 12, 10, 14?
Yes.
Oh my.
All the way down that pipe was heavy.
So Ruka will up to the 2nd and 3rd runs here in the Superpipe final.
Jeez, switch back 10 to start off the run, huge. Now, we need to point out that one of the greatest technical halfpipe riders the world has ever seen, Scotty James, is not present at this event. And he's really the one that started the whole heat on these switch backside moves, as we see him right there, switch back 10, straight into the 14, pivots that right below the lip. Look how clean this is in the air, and it wasn't until the bottom of this run.
Yep.
So actually, the 2nd hit was the backside 1260. There's the 14.
So Ruka is a regular foot rider, which means he normally rides left foot forward. That's his strong move. So anytime you see him with right foot forward riding, he's riding backwards. Final competitor to drop in here at the men's Superpipe final presented by Toyota. The #1 qualifier, Ayumu Hirano, 2-time Olympic silver medalist, also taking time to compete last summer in the Japan Olympic Games, where he finished 14th in the men's park competition in skateboarding. So Ayumu Hirano now at 23.
Here's what I want you,
#1 qualifier.
This is what I want you to pay attention to just as much as his antics above the lip, how quiet his body is. There's a skateboarder, a legendary street skater by the name of Tom Penny, who would I equate his style to. It's so quiet, so lazy, but once he leaves the lip, it is just insane.
And you mean lazy in a good way?
Lazy in the best possible way. Here we go, Ayumu Hirano into hit #1. He's got the back-to-back 14s. Here we go, straight into the first 14. There's the second 1440, back-to-back 1440 so far. Giant frontside 1260 landing at the bottom of the transition. Backside 900, will we see that crazy triple out of him? Not this run, just into full 1080 to test the waters. That was crazy back-to-back 14s, not the cleanest I've ever seen him do them. I just wonder if the judges are going to judge him against himself right now or the rest of the field.
So Ayumu Hirano with a great opening run to move into first place after run #1. He'll need better than a 92 to top American Taylor Gold.
So there we go. Frontside 1440, a little bit of a pivot under the lip there. We saw that snow kind of blast up, but comboing that into the switch version, that was a great combo to open up with. There's another look at it. Dropping into that 1260. And He has that ability to land flat in the bottom and still maintain the momentum to blast above the lip. There's the wind up, snaps into the backside 900, a little tweak out of the front leg to show that he's got complete and total control. And then ending that run off with a casual frontside 1080. So Ayumu Hirano, much more to come from him. Like I said, I think this is just him testing the waters. What will that score net me? Do I need to do the triple, and where's it going to go?
Yeah, it's very strategic of what he's doing, because he's talking about, you know, putting life and limb out there as he gets ready to see his score drop from run number 1. A very casual run for him, and it's hard to say that, Todd, when you've got 14s in the mix.
I have a feeling he's going to bump up into the top 3. The judges are taking their time. I don't think it was as crazy as Taylor Gold's run, simply because Taylor Gold's been trying to do that run now for years and finally puts it down. The judges have seen him attempt it, so Ayumu Hirano, those top 14 to 14 wasn't the cleanest I've ever seen him do him.
And he's better than an 85.5 to go into a top 3 position, better than 88.
He's in the top 3 for sure.
So the score coming now for Ayumu Hirano, he'll go into 3rd place with an 86.75. So just behind Jan Scheer, 88, and Taylor Gold, after 1 run, leads the way. What a performance across the board, as 10 of the world's best have come to the Super Pipe presented by Toyota and thrown down. Taylor Gold leads the way with a 92. Jan Scheer in 2nd with an 88. Ayumu Hirano sitting in 3rd with an 86.75. And maybe the most influential snowboarder of all time, Shaun White, has a little bit of work to do.
Shaun White, he just goes huge.
Shaun has changed the game with just pioneering tricks, amplitude. You got to give him credit. Yeah, dude. He's the best half-pipe rider of all time, easily.
Going for it right now.
He's got the gloves on. He's in the ring. I think it's hard to walk away from something when you know you can still do it and you can still be the best.
His credentials from what he's accomplished over his career say it all. 3 Olympic gold medals, countless X Games medals, pretty much any other event in snowboarding that you can list, he's won it.
There's always been something about winning. It just captured me at a young age. My first Olympic event, I remember it was all about just showing and saying like, hey, I'm here. The second Olympics comes around, I show up, I don't know, I had something still to prove. The third Olympics was, why am I doing this? I needed to correct things in my life. Like all these little details to make my overall life just more positive. Once all the clutter was gone, it was like back to the basics. You know, it's my legacy. It's like this is what I want to leave behind.
Perfect. That is the run that he needed.
The meaning that had was so incredible. And this will be my last time. So this has been my life since I can remember. I'm so thankful for this sport and everything it's giving me, and just want to say thanks.
Back in Copper Mountain, Colorado, Dew Tour 2021. As we get ready for run number 2 of 3 in the men's Superpipe final presented by Toyota. Todd Harris, Todd Richards, Tina Dixon with you as Taylor Gold sits on top right now with a 92. Jan Scheer sits in second. And Ayumu Hirano of Japan sitting in third with Shaun White currently in 7th place. 3-run format, only the best run counts as we get ready now for run number 2. And it'll be Joey Okeson out of Southbury, Connecticut that'll get things started off here. Todd had a good run going early on, but then had a fall midway through. So that 11.25 has to be a throwaway for him.
Let's just talk about run number 1. I just recently scraped my jaw back up off the floor because this is the way that you get a final going. And a youngster like this kid right here, Joey, he's got to tap into that. You can't get intimidated by what you see. You just need to feed off of the energy that the other riders are bringing. This is a rookie in a final here at Dew Tour. Giant double up and over crippler to get things going. This is where he fell on run number 1. Nails it this time. Backside 1260. Huge frontside 1080. Joey, the kid from Connecticut, setting it down, representing the East Coast. Big frontside spin to get things done. That's what we're talking about. This is the youngster that we will see for years, the future of halfpipe riding for Team USA.
Welcome to the show, Joey Okeson. A great second run. This will be a big improvement off that 11.25 that he threw down on run number 1.
Yeah, be proud of yourself, Joey. This was insane. And just considering that New England and Vermont, there are no half pipes. There's no super pipes out there to ride. So this kid's got to travel to the West Coast to even get his reps in, which is a super bummer. I want to see half pipes be delivered back to the East Coast again so these kids can have a chance to have a shot at the big game like Joey right here, putting down a solid run from top to bottom, starting things off with that double up and over, the double crippler, straight into the backside 1260. Watch the snap into that. Grab Stalefish all the way through that rotation. And then landing down here at the bottom, the big frontside 900. Pounding that out with authority. The fans are hyped. He's got a really good chance of representing Team USA heading over to Beijing.
So Joey Okeson, fresh off a strong second run. This should move him up. And he'll go into 6th place with a 75.75 for the rookie representing the U.S.
Careful with the Slayer going right now. You're liable to melt all the snow out here.
Good look at the Superpipe here at Copper Mountain. The folks here have done a masterful job of manicuring this and getting it ready for the world's best to compete here in the final. Next man to drop in will be the youngest competitor in the field at just 16. It is Valentino Castellet out of Australia.
All right, we're going to have to call down to the Eagle Airport right now because we need to clear some airspace. The first air that he does will be a switch backside air, the opposite of his natural, super awkward and insane to be able to do at this height. Colossal switch method to start off that run. 15 feet high into a 17-foot high 1080. Into a giant tail grab 112, and his legs just can't handle the G's of landing out into the flat.
Valentino G landing in the middle, but throws a little style at it. You're 16. You're in the final of the Superpipe with Shaun White.
Okay, this is switch, Harris.
Backwards.
That is backwards. That is basically doing a reverse air into a giant. Look how huge that is. It's so big. And able to just hold on to that, but just watch the compression here as he comes in on this 1260. Little late whip. He's kind of falling to the bottom of the transition and just can't handle the G-force. Like we said, we saw Shaun White snap a binding. Didn't fall, just snapped it midair. And there's so much G's put on you on those transitions.
26.75 becomes a throwaway for Valentino. He'll look to his third and final run. There is the view from the very top of the Superpipe here at Copper. Jan Scheer now, two-time Olympian, currently sitting in 2nd place, ready for his party started. Looking in really good situation right here for him, Todd. He finished 3rd last week at the Grand Prix. He is trending in the right directions towards Beijing.
And how to get that big score? He did it by dropping straight into tricks like this one right here. Backside 900 tail grab. Slow rotating into a giant frontside 1440. and sets it down perfectly. Combos that into the switch 1080. Lots of momentum. He's got to end this run off just as strong as it began. Frontside 1260 into the alley-oop 900.
I was going to say, it was so smooth at that point, especially the landings and the transitions.
Currently in second place, if you can stomp that alley-oop 900 down. That trick is really, really difficult. I used to do a lot of alley-oop frontside spins in my day, and it's hard to match the transition because you tend to pop into the middle of the half pipe. You want to just go up, not pop into the middle. See right here, just slow down frontside 1260. Watch that landing. Super smooth. And then comboing that, spinning up the pipe while rotating down the pipe. And trying to match that transition and stop that spin is not easy, especially when you run out of wall.
Just caught the edge of the coping there on the lip of the half pipe, and that sends Jan Scheer down, so he holds on to the 88 and looks to the third and final run for him. Well, the man leading the competition right now at the Superpipe final presented by Toyota, none other than American Taylor Gold. Out of Steamboat Springs, Colorado at 28. He's looking to make his second Olympic team, Todd. And with a score like that and a run that he put down in run number 1, he is going to be in contention for a medal because that 92 was no joke.
And that was the best run that we have seen from him in years. We've seen little pieces of it, but we've never actually seen him connect the dots. And that's why it's so special. And that's why I lost my absolute marbles on run number 1, because he always gets to that point where, is this going to be it? Is this going to be it? Where he puts it down. And he finally puts it down at Dew Tour. So now, how does he build on this?
Yeah, that was the question. Does he do the same run and try to clean it up, or does he mix it up?
Here we go. Taylor Gold going to drop in to the McTwist once again.
Here we go.
Even bigger. Giant McTwist, inverted 540 to get things started. Frontside 1260. Taylor lands tall into the double chuck 1080. Perfectly stomped. Switch McTwist. No, switch method. Tones it down a little bit. Is he going to do a switch 12 right here? He is. Switch 1260. Unfortunately for him, goes down. So that score, that 92, will just have to sit there and marinate until we see the rest of the field come down.
So he backs it off just a little bit. He's kind of saving his body for the third and final.
I think he backed it up to kind of set up for something so that on the run number 3, he could figure out, is it possible for me to do the switch McTwist and then put the switch 1260 at the bottom? Because everything up top, it seems like this is the part of his run that he always nails. Comes in here, double chuck up and over, off axis, kind of a flat spin, late hip whip, brings it to 1080, sets him up switch on his heel edge, going awkwardly across the flat bottom. That was a switch McTwist run number 1. Kind of tones it down. Switch method, because he wants to set up for this. The switch 1260, you saw him do a 1080 run number 1, wants to up the ante by a little bit of rotation to that 10. To that 12, excuse me.
The body just kept wanting to rotate on Taylor Gold, so he holds on to that first run score, and he's standing by with Tina.
Yeah, and Taylor still holding down the lead. That first run was a thing of beauty. How proud are you of that run?
I was so stoked on that run. I did a bunch of contests last year trying to do that combo together, and it's really tricky, and I didn't land it. And I was super frustrated at the end of last season, and it's just so sick. Like, I'm so stoked to land that combo in a contest finally, and to do it here at Dew Tour. You know, this is kind of my home state. I'm just so excited.
And then you're adding more difficulty there at the bottom now.
Yeah, I kind of messed up the landing of the Chuck 10 on that one, so I didn't do the switch McTwist. So I was like, I got to try to add something. So hopefully next run, put all of that together.
And you still got that top score. Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it when people pay off of what I've said.
Yeah.
It always, job security and all that.
I love the honesty of Taylor Gold, so we look to his third and final run. Bit of breaking news that Chase Josie, one of the 4 Americans to make the finals, we saw him, Todd, come off the end of that run, his first run, with a little bit of a limp. He's not going to take the second run. We'll see if he can come back for the third and final run. Andre Hoflich now out of Germany. Saw the makings of a really good run. 23.75 has to be a throwaway for him. He had a fall towards the end. Man, we saw the potential there.
Yeah, we did. And, it's just the pace that this final is taking. I hope it hasn't peaked early.
It did come out kind of hot, didn't it?
It came out hot.
First runs usually are warm-ups, but not in this situation.
All right, here we go. Dropping in. He's going to come in, switch. He is one of these riders that is very comfortable doing this switch method air. He lost it on run number 1, wasn't able to hold on to it. Straight into a giant 1080. Great combo to start off this run. Into the front side, 1260. Doubling it over, dipping his shoulder 2 times. Backside 900 with a full tweak out of that front leg, showing total control into the front. Much better than run number 1.
You know what's great about this? This isn't on American snow. It's an American qualifier, but the folks are getting just as loud for the German riders, the Swiss riders, the Japanese riders.
Good snowboarding is good snowboarding. Yep. And it's no longer this American-dominated freestyle event. In fact, I would argue to say that Japan is leading the progression right now. But check this out right here. Switch method air. Perfect, and that was a setup trick straight into this right here. Big old double, 1080. Opens up early, able to spot the rest of the landing, completing the full rotation above the lip. That's really important.
Explain what you mean when you say a setup trick.
Okay, well, you have to combo these lines together. It needs to be technical to technical to technical. So some of these tricks are basically setups for the next trick. If you don't land that setup trick, you're not going to have access to even try that next trick. And it's just gotten to the point in technical half-pipe snowboarding where the technical tricks are the setup tricks. It wasn't very long ago that an inverted double cork 1080 would be a power move, and now it literally is a setup trick.
So gone are the days of straight airs just to set yourself up. Andre Hoeflich gets an 80.75. He's now in the top 6. Shaun White composing himself, ready for his second run. 30.75 is what he got on run number 1. And remember, he said he got to the bottom, broken binding on the 3rd hit.
And he broke it in the air. Now watch this as he comes out, puts a ton of torque on his board. He said it broke in the air on his 3rd wall. So now coming into this, you're a little bit loose. You don't have that leverage anymore because your binding is flopping around. So Shaun White will go back up to the top. They bring spare bindings. Watch the back leg, jams out straight. Snaps the binding right there. And then still has to try to complete this run because he's into his momentum.
It's got to be a little unnerving. You're 33 feet out of a super pipe coming back down to earth and you got a broken binding.
Yeah, and what you're doing next trick is committing to a double dip of the shoulder on probably one of the hardest tricks ever in the half pipe.
3-time Olympic gold medalist Shaun White set to drop in on run number 2, had a fall on run number 1, only garnered a 30.75, but in the 3-run format, you only keep your best score, so he can right the ship right here on run 2.
Shaun White needs to go massive to take down that top score. Front 14. Oh, and slips out. So now, uncharacteristic pressure cooker situation for Shaun White going into run number 3.
Well, we've seen this from him before as he shakes that left hand, a little bit of a stinger there. It comes down to 1 run for the win for Shaun. He's also looking for points. He's also looking for podiums because he has not guaranteed his spot on Team USA yet, trying to make that 5th Olympic team.
But we saw this last weekend at the Grand Prix here, the other U.S. event in half pipe so far this season. He fell his first 2 runs, and on run number 3, he came out strong. But there's that front side 1440 attempt. And not able to get the proper rotation needed to square up to the next wall.
Shaun White catching up with Tina Dixon down in the corral.
Oh, Shaun, the broken binding. You go back up, you got to drop in. Walk us through what happened in your process.
I broke a binding in practice, so we switched it to a new binding so it'd be stable for the run. And that one snapped in half on my second hit in the takeoff. That run was so perfect. I'm so upset. So I'm waiting at the top. I just kind of overthought it and made a mistake that first hit. But we got one more. I'm going to dig deep and try to get it done.
You've been in these positions before, though, where you leave it to the 3rd run.
I really don't like it, but I have been here before. So let's see what happens.
Thanks, Shaun.
Thank you.
So,
yeah,
double binding snap.
Let's talk about that. The amount of torque is
Yeah.
put on the bindings as you are basically coiling up to snap off of that lift. It's a lot, and that's why these guys train as well, because the human body can only take so much. That's why these guys are superhuman in their training, because you've got to put so much kinetic energy into your board, into your body to get these big spins.
Current standings in the men's Superpipe final presented by Toyota. It's Taylor Gold still on top, put down a 92 on his first run. Jan Scheer sits in second. Ayumu Hirano sitting in third. Shaun White still with a lot of work to do. He's had 2 falls, and his best score thus far is a 30.75. Yuto Totsuka now, coming off a second place performance of the Grand Prix, just 20 years of age. He is 15 years younger than Shaun White. Not that age is an issue, but he is 15 years younger.
Age is an issue when it comes to jumping right back into it the next morning. And that is one thing these younger riders have over a guy like Shaun White. Yep. Shaun's talking about ice baths. These guys are probably eating Skittles. So here we go, getting ready for his second run through. Currently sitting in 4th place, but he would like to ditch that. And if you do 1440s like that and land towards the top of the wall, that's the way you get it going. Switch 12, switch backside 1080. A little bit of mistake on that switch 12, but still able to get it back on his feet. Front 1260. Yuto just going ape on this pipe right now.
It might be an improvement. He was sitting on an 85.5, Todd. The only place, and you pointed it out, where you could maybe ding him a bit is that second wall, I think it was, where he had a little bit of a sketch coming off the landing going into transition.
Yeah, that was just, but it wasn't enough to zap any momentum. But this final is so gnarly, the judges are going to really have to take a look at any and all mistakes in your run, because we're talking about trying to put up these huge scores to potentially take down Taylor Gold. There's the 1440. Sets him up switch stance, and this is the landing right here on this switch 1260, where I saw the only little problem. I don't even know if it was, kind of put his hand down, but sort of. It didn't zap any momentum out of him. And then into the switch 10. I could see that switch 1080 being bigger had he not made that mistake, but still put this run down perfect. So there we see the cap out of this run.
That's clean from the drone. I mean, that is a beautiful run.
Yeah, switch back 1080 into a 1260, into another 1260. So 3 1260s in that run. That's crazy.
The numbers are staggering, and they're only going to continue to go up. And with, as you pointed out, Todd, 6 weeks still to go plus until the Olympic Games. You know these guys are going back to the drawing board and going to start, what can I add? How many more spins can I get in?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Drops in 1440 into a switch 1260, into a switch back 10, into a backside 1260, into a frontside 1260.
Has a lot of rotations for young Yuto Totsuka of Japan. Final 3 competitors to go. He bumps up to a 90. So Yuto now sitting in second place behind American Taylor Gold, who has the lead.
He spun more in one run than I did in the past 3 seasons.
Taylor Gold is the leader with a 92. Yuto now in second. Jan Scheer sitting in third. That means Ayumu Hirano has been bumped down to 4th off the podium. Final 2 competitors to go in run number 2 of the Superpipe competition, both of them Japanese. The top 3 qualifiers are from Japan. It'll be Ruka Hirano, coming off a big win last week in the same half pipe here at Copper. First run went a little bit of ride for him, 31.75, so that has to be a throwaway for him.
Super technical, really comfortable doing these 14s. And as JJ Thomas had kind of alluded to early on in the broadcast here, all of these Japanese riders in this final have the triple cork. Switch backside into the first hit. Switch backside, 1080 to start things off. Straight into backside double cork, 1260. Into gigantic frontside 10, double cork of the shoulder, 1440. A little bit off of his line into an alley-oop 540. So that 14 at the bottom there, a little bit of a scrub. Stayed on his feet the whole time, but it wasn't perfect.
Yeah, these guys are still, let's not forget, they're still going 35 plus feet out of the half pipe.
I should say 35 plus feet off of the ground.
The deck, yes.
I mean, an 18-foot high air, 20-foot high air out of a 22-foot deep half pipe is no joke. Switch backside 1080, giant. That's probably about 15 feet out right there. To do a switch backside spin that big is just unheard of. And then into backside 1260, kind of drifting down. And then combos that. Big front 10. Watch that shoulder, the commitment to the second half of that trick. And then into the 1440. And this is where I saw a little bit of a mistake. Maybe not the cleanest of landings, because he had to counter correct himself in the flat bottom. The judges want to see you be consistent on your edge work at the bottom. You see there, that chuff of snow where it gusted up there, that's a little bit of a mistake. Here it is, the 1440. And I'm just splitting hairs here because I know the judges are too. A little scrape, and then he has a counter correct onto his toes into the alley-oop 540.
It should be an improvement, though, on his 31.75 on the first run. Everyone chasing American Taylor Gold right now. He has the highest score at 92 that he laid down on run number 1. We just saw Ruka Hirano, the penultimate rider here in run number 2, the second best qualifier in the men's half-pipe competition. And Ruka's score now coming in. How about this? An 89. So he bumps into third place with Yuto Totsuka sitting in second place and American Taylor Gold in first.
Hey, rip it up. Rip it up.
Current standings in the men's competition in the midst of run number 2 of 3, American Taylor Gold still leads by 2 points over Yuto Totsuka of Japan. Ruka Hirano sitting in third place. You don't see on there Shaun White. He's dropped down to 9th as he's pushed down. And Chase Josie, the American injured on his first run, has had to drop from the competition. So 9 men now fighting for those 3 podium positions. And it all comes down to just 1 run, your best score of the 3. The number 1 qualifier in the competition coming in, Ayumu Hirano out of Japan. He's a 2-time Olympic silver medalist. On board Team Japan in skateboarding as well this past summer, where he competed in the men's park competition. He really is, as you say, Todd, an all-terrain vehicle when it comes to boarding.
Yeah, he's an ATV, and he's about to go absolutely buck wild on this half pipe because his run number 1 with the 214s didn't really put him where he wanted to. And Ayumu is one of these riders who, which is uncharacteristic for Japanese riders, to get angry and motivated. Here he comes, dropping in to his second run of 3. Ayumu, I can't wait to see what he brings. Straight into 1440, landed perfectly off hit number 1. Back-to-back 14, stomped out clean. Into front side 1260 at the bottom of the transition. So unfortunately for Ayumu, pressure's on for run number 3. So we got a couple of big heavy hitters that are going to be battling it out in run number 3 for that big score.
Well, you think about the man that won the gold medal, Shaun White in Pyeongchang at the last Olympics, the man that won the silver medal, Ayumu Hirano, at the last Olympics. Both of them need a big third and final run score to get them onto the podium and a shot at winning. Let's look at the competition as we get ready to step aside. After 2 runs, it has been an absolute pressure cooker as the Japanese have come to play, but right now it's American Taylor Gold that leads the way.
It is, but he has to contend with a couple Japanese riders who are just getting warmed up. Each one of these guys, like you said, 1 more run to go. Can Taylor Gold hold on to that lead? Well, the Japanese are going to make it really difficult.
Ruka Hirano sitting on an 89, a great score for him. Yuto Totsuka sitting on a 90. They are nipping at the heels of Taylor Gold, who sits just 2 points ahead with a 92. Does he hold on for the third and final run? We will have that when we return to Copper Mountain, Colorado. The third and final runs from Dew Tour 2021 when we return. Dew Tour is brought to you by Mountain Dew. Do the Dew. Safeway. Fresh foods, local flavors.
The competition,
really high highs and low lows.
It's insane. That will to win that I had. You have to go huge. You have to land perfect.
Yeah, I just love the competition. I'm playing to win. I would say my advantage is knowing how to deal with that pressure.
You don't have an opportunity to really think about what's coming at you.
I tried so hard, but I knew deep down I had it in me.
It takes a lot to fight back.
I just remembered thinking, okay, well, this is some fuel to the fire. I'm here to stay.
I think everybody handles it differently, but your headspace at the top of a contest is...
The hardest part is doing it the first time, and then once you do it once you get your teeth dug in, everything starts to come a little bit easier.
1, 2, 3, get that job done.
I try to not get too amped up. I think you can overamp really easy, take too much speed into the first hit or something like that. To really know what you're about to do takes quite a bit of focus. Really visualize your tricks before you do them.
You don't think, you just react. When you get up there, you just do what you do and it just clicks and you just go with it.
I need to focus and really put some runs down to make the team. People forget, you start seeing ads on TV that here's your hopefuls for the Olympics. We're hopefuls, obviously. we gotta make the team. So here it is, the Dew Tour, it's third qualifying event for the Olympics. Using that momentum and that fuel and pressure, I think it's really gonna motivate me right at the end.
Dew Tour 2021 from beautiful Copper Mountain, Colorado. We have reached the final run of the men's Superpipe final presented by Toyota. Todd Harris, Todd Richards with you. Tina Dixon down in the corral. A beautiful day. Bluebird Day. The pipe is manicured, and we've got the world's best competing. Right now, Taylor Gold has put down the best run, a 92. Yuto, Totsuka, and Ruka Hirano right behind him. Look how close the margin is. We're talking 2 points. Shaun White still in the mix. He's got to come out and land this third and final run. So, Todd, talk about the mindset from Taylor Gold down to Shaun White. What do you do?
Okay, well, let's just start with Taylor. Taylor has to sit here and think, okay, well, it's a 92. I'm not like super comfortable here because I know it can be thrown down. But Shaun White has got, like you said, he's got to dig deep and find something special. He is an absolute animal when it comes to playing 3D chess with half-pipe competitions. So we'll have to wait and see. But, I mean, Shaun backed into a corner is a dangerous thing.
75-75, Joey Okeson be the first man to drop in here on the third and final run. Rookie coming off the Rev Tour out of Southbury, Connecticut. And his second run, Todd, was a real revelation. He comes out and he throws it down 7.5, 7.5. Just making it to the show is a huge deal.
Yeah, and coming from the East Coast, I had said earlier that there are no pipes on the East Coast. Okemo has one in Vermont still, and it's the only one. It used to be that every resort had a pipe, but now you got to travel if you want to get it done. And for a kid coming out of the East Coast as a teenager, it's not easy.
That Stratton pipe should be put in a museum or something. You remember that thing and how many great contests took place at Stratton?
Absolutely. There's been a lot of legendary pipes on the East Coast. But unfortunately, there are only
the big super pipes.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of money, and it's a lot of space to maintain it and have it at your resort.
Yeah.
J.J. Thomas there looking on. Bronze medalist from the 2002 Olympic Games. He was part of that U.S. sweep, coaching out with Joey Okeson.
So here we go, Joey. Run number 2 was great. Run number 1, he had some problems. So now he's just going to build on his momentum. 75.75 is what he wants to drop from his score line. Here we go into hit number 1. Big double up and over, absolutely massive. Into the backside, double 12, and a wash on his heels, but he went huge.
Yes,
He's
did.
going for it. This kid has got a big future. He is the future of U.S. snowboarding, and I think that with his riding out here and his placing here today, we're going to see him in contention for making that U.S. Olympic team spot.
Yeah, Joey Okeson looking for points and podiums, and when you make it into the final, you get points. So that was mission number 1. Getting to that final, getting to the podium is mission number 2.
Joey Okeson going to stick with that 7.5.
Beautiful super pipe here at Copper Mountain. Taylor Gold continues to lead with 1 run still to go. The third and final runs at this super pipe final presented by Toyota. We'll get a good look at Valentina Castellet out of Australia, the youngest competitor in this field. So you've got a 16-year-old going up against a 35-year-old, and that 35-year-old just happens to be Shaun White.
Yeah, at 16, there's not a lot that you've got to worry about. But when you're going 20 feet out on a switch method on your first hit, there's a couple things I could put in the list of things maybe worrying about. Maybe like the lip, not landing in the flat bottom,
being able to walk away. So he came out swinging on run number 1, got an 83, had issues on his second run, Todd, but in this format, 3 runs, only your best run counts. He's got an opportunity here now to vault himself up onto the podium.
Watch this power pump into this switch method that is, that's so big. Holy cow, into the giant 1080 to match that front 12. That's what he had problems on run number 1. Power squats out of it into giant 9, into a giant frontside 10. This kid is at home, well above the lip.
16-year-old knees can handle that kind of compression, as Valentino had a scrub midway through that run, Todd, and in this field, a scrub is just not going to get you near the podium.
No, it isn't, but you know what? This kid has my maximum respect. Wait till we see the replay of this switch method.
16.9 on the U.S. Space Force height meter. So yeah, that's the 22, 38 feet plus from the bottom.
Well, he goes into low orbit right here. Oh my God, that's switch stance. That is a switch stance method. Are you kidding me? Full extent. I can't believe that is switch. Unbelievable. And then straight into this. I mean, the switch method is 10 times more impressive than anything else that he did in his run. Just because it takes so much to do that trick big and to hold your composure and not freak out when you're 15 feet high coming in backwards. There's that power squat. And then into the 900. So a great run as far as I'm concerned. However, the judges, they are the hypercritics. Front 12, power squat, 16-year-old tree trunks, able to keep him up.
So Valentino trying to follow on the heels of Scotty James. He'll stay with that first run score, has him in 6th place with an 83.
One more time, let's hear it for Valentino.
Current standings, Taylor Gold still 92, and he still has his 3rd and final run to go. Yuto Totsuka and Ruka Hirano. Japanese sitting 2nd and 3rd, with Jan Scheer currently in 4th place.
Okay, Jan, you're good to go.
So Jan Scheer now, 3rd and final run. Came out with a great opening score of 88. Could not back that up, had a fall with a 35, so that goes throwaway. And here he is, trying to make it all work, just like he did last week at the Grand Prix.
Once again, that 92, you need to eclipse that score to get yourself on top of the podiums. Backside 900 tail grab, nice and slow, rotated straight into the front side 1440. Stomps that out, a little bit of an edge correction into a backside 540. So that run just went awry.
Yeah. You saw his legs go kind of stiff there, Todd. Is that just a balance issue, or he just?
I think it's just the impact of landing towards the bottom of the transition. If the lower you land down, the more G-force is put on your legs.
Yeah. Well, Jan did himself a solid. He came out on run number 1 and kind of followed suit with all the other big hitters, and he threw that in 88. So right now he sits in 4th place. So after last week's performance, Jan Scheer finishing in 3rd. Now he's in 4th. He's trending a nice way, nice momentum heading into the holidays as he gets himself ready to compete in Beijing. Sun is out, the skies are blue, the pipe is perfect. As we get set for the 3rd and final run of the current leader, Taylor Gold. He put down a 92 on run number 1, had issues on run number 2. He's going to throw that away, told Artina Dixon that knows exactly what he needs to do. He knows the run he wants to do, Todd. Now he just has to go out and execute. So basically 6 hits coming down the pipe, perfection on point, and you're riding away the very least in the podium position.
Yeah, and you need to be technical, and Taylor Gold brought something unique to it, and judges do get fatigue. I think they get back-to-back 1080 fatigue. So they've seen the crazy spins, they know the double cork moves, whether it be a 1440 or 1260, but Taylor does completely different styles of rotation, and the judges want to reward different thinking. Here we go, big McTwist, hit number 1, full extension, kicking that back leg way above his head. Trying to equal that 92, or actually trying to better it right now. There's that back tension, a little bit of a scrub in there. So he's going to sit on that first run score nervously.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Nervously for Taylor Gold. It was that one hit that went awry. He'll have to sit on the 92 and watch literally some of the world's best half-pipe riders come down and take a shot at it.
Try to hold off that top spot position.
Let's watch here and see what went wrong with this run. There's the double chuck 1080, switches hands up to keep himself composed, brings those hips around, lands a little bit hard. I think just the compression of that landing kind of threw him off his line. And you need to be absolutely perfect to combo that into the switch McTwist. You can't be thinking about, well, do I have enough speed or not? So, little switch method, a switch up of his line, and now he sits and waits for the likes of Shaun White, Ayumu Hirano, Yuto Totsuka, and Ruka Hirano to come down and see what can possibly happen.
Well, while we have a moment, let's flash back to the women's competition taking place in this very same pipe. The women's super pipe final presented by Toyota. And I'll tell you what, the heavy hitters were here to play, Todd. Some of the best in the world. Maddie Mastro, the #1 qualifier, and then had this accident on run 1.
Yeah, and she was really going for it here. Started to run off with the double, but ended up making contact with the lip with her face. She's okay, she's back on her feet, but she wasn't able to complete the rest of the day.
Saijutong coming off a tremendous performance last week in this very half pipe, winning the Grand Prix, looked very good.
Yeah, strong run by her, kind of set the pace for what we would see into runs 2 and 3.
Queralt Castellet comes out on the first run, Todd, and just sets the bar and puts the pressure on the rest of the field.
Right, and it really was her version of what a good run should look like that set the pace for the judges for the day to come. And Danny Castor, her coach, was super excited.
Chloe Kim, we don't see this very often. She was backed into a corner.
Yeah, Chloe Kim on her third and final run delivered. Back 2 1080s in a run, back-to-back insanity all the way down the pipe, and stomping it out in Chloe Kim fashion to a gigantic score.
The relief on her face after crashing on her first 2. She comes out, delivers on run number 3. So the reigning Olympic gold medalist wins the Dew Tour on her final run to claim the title. In the midst of the men's third and final runs with work still to do, Taylor Gold just took his third run, unable to improve on the 92, but he sits and waits now as the best come down, and it'll kick things off with Andre Hoflick out of Germany. We've seen potential. That second run, he put it all together, 87.5. Todd, you said you wanted to see maybe a few more additions to it, a little more sizzle to bump himself up possibly on the podium. But to do that, he's going to need better than an 89.
Well, the sizzle's going to have to come by way of going huge and potentially putting a couple 1440s in your run, because at this point, looking at who is yet to come down the pipe, I mean, Shaun White is backed into a corner as well. We just talked about Chloe Kim being in that unfamiliar position. Shaun White definitely does not like the position he's in right now. But we will have to wait to see what happens. Andre Hoflack coming in with his version of the switch method on hit number 1. Impressive. About 10, 12 feet out. Yep, there we go. Straight into a big double, but washing on the landing.
Okay, so Andre will hold on to that run that got him an 80.75, and 7th will be the best he can do in this competition. I'm sure he'll play a big part as he goes into the full slide for Team Germany.
So starting his run off with the switch method as well, and comboing that, didn't get it done for him.
Well, Shaun White has had a long tenure at the Dew Tour, and as he's preparing to say goodbye at the Olympics, he's also appreciative of the fans who come out every year to support him here at Dew Tour.
You know, the guy in the parking booth that scanned me in, that kind of got so excited to see me that it looked like he was getting, teary-eyed, and the people that I bump into in the chairlift line that go up the hill with me, and it finally dawns on them that they're sitting next to me. It's like, oh my God. This sport has been my life, and it continues to be my life, and I'm so thankful for this sport and everything it's given me, and I just want to say thanks.
Well, Shaun White delivering on run number 3. The question is, will it be enough? I don't think he had his hand on his board in a couple spots where he probably should have, but it is really all about the fans, and the fans absolutely love Shaun White as you see him chucking the gloves into the audience.
Gloves and goggles, gift pack as Shaun White. Best way to thank the fans, put up a run like that. Wow, so after 2 broken bindings, Shaun White puts one together on his 3rd and final run. We'll see what the judges think of it. We'll set it down to Tina.
Oh, yeah, and after a broken binding and things just happening out of your control, what does it mean, though, to finally get that landed run on the 3rd try?
It felt amazing. Honestly, I was thrown by the broken binding, and now I'm like fighting this uphill battle to get the runs in with just 2 runs to go, and I was so happy to put one in. So thank you, everybody, for being here. This is my last Dew Tour, so thank you. Thank you, Dew Tour. Thank you, everybody here. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Shaun.
It is truly an end of an era when Shaun says this is his last Dew Tour and this is his last go-around for the Olympics. And Todd, no better way to go out with a run that he's proud of and put into his feet.
Yeah, Shaun White's legacy on snowboarding will be felt for years and years and years to come. Giant 1080 to start his run off. Gets things going into the switch 1080. And Shaun White, you know, this is a good run. He did put it down. Couple little bobbles there. There's the double McTwist 1260. Comes around on that. Doesn't quite get the grab. If I can see it, the judges can see it. And then combos that into the frontside 12 at the bottom. There's the setup trick. There's the double 12 into the front 12. So that will do it for Shaun White here today. I don't think it's enough for him to bump up onto the podium or honestly even into the top 5. But still, Shaun White has got some time now.
Oh yeah.
Heading into the Olympics to get some work done. And you know Shaun White just as well as I do in competition mode.
He will go to work.
He will go to work and he will go to war.
But the fact that he ends this Dew Tour run with that run, with a smile on his face, feeling, you know what, it had some things against me. J.J. Thomas, his coach, was happy about it. He's going to need an 89 just to get onto the podium. I just don't know if it's there today. But again, like you said, Todd, he's got time. He's got 2.5 more weeks until the Mammoth Grand Prix and then the Olympics coming up in February. And Shaun, always a fan favorite. It's an 82 for him, so White moves up to 7th place. And that is important because that is more points to qualifying to Team USA. That's a selfie.
I gotta run back to the top.
That's your Christmas card right there.
That's right. Shaun White doing it for the fans. They do come out in droves. I would imagine that a quarter of those fans are here just for him.
So it comes down to this. It's going to be a shootout between Taylor Gold and Team Japan. The final 3 competitors all from Japan, but Taylor Gold has the highest score. It's a 92, and it's only the best run that counts. So Todd, Taylor Gold sitting down there nervously knowing that the 3 best half-pipe riders really right now, other than Scotty James, are all going to take shots at that 92.
If I was in his position right now, I'd be straight to the cuticle. There would be no fingernails left because I know what these Japanese riders are capable of, so that means that Taylor Gold also knows. He trained all fall long with him over in Saas-Fee, Switzerland. He knows that they have that crazy triple, and he also knows that they've got those nutty switch backside moves.
Yuto Totsuka now from Yokohama, Japan, 20 years of age. 2nd place at last week's Copper Grand Prix. Right behind Taylor right now with a 90. So small improvements here and there, whether it's a grab, whether it's a clean landing, and he could bump himself ahead of Taylor. There's nothing Taylor can do because his 3rd and final run is complete.
I think what he needs to do is just go massive. Here comes Yuto. Switch into his first hit. Nope, actually frontside into his first hit. 1440, starting his run off. Giant switch backside 1260, that was huge. Switch backside 1080. Backside 1260. Into a frontside 1260, gigantic. Now the big thing that's going to set him apart and potentially give Taylor Gold a run for his money is how huge he went.
Yep.
And there's Raibu Katayama, who went down last weekend very hard in an event here. We wish him the best, but that is going to be a giant score for Yuto. Giant score.
Praying to the judge gods right now. If that score goes above 92, that means that Yuto will go into the lead and guarantee himself a spot on the podium.
Frontside 1440 to start this off. Land switch perfectly. It looks like he just came out of a 360. Then into a giant switch 1260, landing tight to the top of the lip, combos that into the switch backside 1080, dipping that shoulder a second time. That sets him up into a 1260 backside style. There's another look at it from above. There's the switch backside 10 into the backside 12 into the front side 12. That run is insane. The question is, are the judges feeling the creativity and the uniqueness of Taylor Gold's, seeing that he is unique in the fact that no one has even stepped to that line of tricks that he's done? Or will they give it to the whirling of Yuto Totsuka right now?
So Taylor Gold sits and waits. 3 scores to come down. Find out if he is on the podium or is he winning this competition, waiting for the score from Yuto Totsuka. He's already sitting on a 90, and how about this? 95.5 as he goes into first place.
And by virtue of the combos, how clean he landed on top of the transition, able to combo those things, those hard moves together, that's what got it for him.
So Taylor Gold sitting in second place now, and he's still not locked into a podium for sure, despite the fact that he had the leading score throughout. Now sits in second, but 2 Japanese riders still to go. First it'll be Ruka Hirano and then Ayumu Hirano. So if they go past the 92, Taylor Gold's on the outside looking in of the podium.
And that is the crazy thing about the talent of Japan is it's possible now for Taylor Gold, which we thought was an untouchable run, to just get bumped off the podium. Switch backside 1080. There's that backside 1260 into the frontside 1260. Pay attention to the landings. The judges are, and I am too. They're so smooth. You can't help but to reward that, especially when the technicality is there above the lip.
Rabu Katayama, as you mentioned, injured last week at the Grand Prix. Hopefully he recovers and can join us in Mammoth. Yuto Totsuka now leads the way, 95.5. Taylor Gold sits in second, 92. Ruka Hirano in third with the 89. There you see Shaun finishing in seventh with an 82. So Ruka Hirano currently sitting in third place with an 89. Needs better than a 92 to move into second, better than a 95.5 to take the lead.
So we're going to see him approach the first wall. Switch stance. Here he comes in, the opposite of his natural stance. A little bit more awkward technicality on the first hit straight away. Switch back 10 to get this started up into backside 1260, not able to get it around. So Taylor has dodged a bullet.
Yep, and Taylor Gold can finish no worse than third, so that gives him points and podium, which is huge for his qualification for Team USA, as Ruka Hirano will not be able to improve upon that 89. Jan Scheer in fourth place. Will he stay there? Taylor Gold in second. Does he stay there? It all comes down to maybe one of the most creative and stylish riders in the halfpipe, Ayumu Hirano. He is a 2-time silver medalist in the halfpipe. Finishing in second place to Shaun White in Pyeongchang. Did not sit well with him. He felt that his score was better than Shaun's. And here's his opportunity now to win the Dew Tour. He's going to need better than that 95 to take the lead and the win. He needs better than an 89 to go onto the podium.
So he's got a pair of 1440s up top. He's got the 1260s. He's also the first one that landed the triple cork in the pipe and did it in stellar fashion.
Here we go, final competitor here at the men's super pipe presented by Toyota.
Ayumu Hirano, a pair of 14s straight away, front side. There he goes! There he goes, ladies and gentlemen!
Oh my word! He was feeling it.
Oh my gosh.
Yuto Totsuka dodges the biggest bullet of them all because Ayumu Hirano was swinging for the fence as he uncorks on the first hit.
Wait till we see the replay of hit number 1. That was incredible.
Team Japan serving notice to anyone that has any desires of being on the podium in Beijing. It's going to have to go through Team Japan.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I think people are still kind of like, did he just?
Yeah, I need to see it. I need to see it. Here we go. Hit number 1. 1, 2, triple cork. Oh. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Switch triple cork. Excuse me, frontside triple cork, 14. I mean,
and it looks so
what
casual.
Is that? I didn't even know what the rotation would be on that. That's the triple. That's what we've been talking about this whole time. That is the bar now, and he essentially stomped out of that about as good as you could. That is trick number 1 on his run. He was out for blood. Then going into hit number 2, unfortunately washes out on the 14. But everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's happening.
Taylor Gould's like, this is the guy that could bump me, and I can't believe he just did that.
I got to say this right now. Half-pipe snowboarding has just changed. Ayumu Hirano just changed the competition landscape for half-pipe snowboarding. The triple cork has now been presented in a format of competition.
So progression on display at Dew Tour as Ayumu Hirano goes for it on his 3rd and final run. He could have played it safe. He did not. He went for it, landed the triple. Everyone's going to remember the first time they saw the triple in a competition. Wow, what a showing as we send it down to Tina.
Phenomenal run by Yuto, Totsuka. Yuto first off. Just what does it mean to you to finally win here at Dew Tour?
This is my dream because this competition is it's my dream. Yeah, and so happy now.
What did you think of Ayumu's triple?
This is crazy, but yeah, I want to make it.
Oh, well, enjoy this one for now. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations to Yuto, Totsuka. Everyone's still a little bit dazed by what they saw from Ayumu Hirano as he throws out a triple in a half-pipe competition, and Toddy lands it. Can you imagine if he continued on? I think you'd have to have given him the win.
Harris, I saw that happen. I didn't believe I saw it happen. I had to see the replay because he landed it so effortlessly. Yep. But man, like I said, the landscape has changed. But huge congratulations, Yuto, Totsuka, and giant congrats to Taylor Gould for putting that run down. I don't care where that scored you. I'm just glad to see you make that run.
Yuto Totsuka gets the victory at the Dew Tour with a 95.5. Taylor Gould on the podium in 2nd place by virtue of the 92. Ruka Hirano finishing in 3rd, and everyone's still talking about Ayumu Hirano, a triple in the half-pipe.
Pay attention to that front shoulder, 3 dips in. This is where we're going, ladies and gentlemen. Good luck, everybody.
What a showing for Ayumu. Does not end up on the podium, but he does end up in top 5. And now everyone sets their sights for the next competition. After the holiday break, it's on to Mammoth Mountain. Todd, they've got a pretty decent half pipe there as well.
They absolutely do. Let's go down to Tina Dixon right now. She's there with Taylor Gould.
Oh, top American and in that 2nd spot. First off, Taylor, there is risk that you take by doing a line that's different than all of the others. To be able to land it here at Dew Tour and finish on the podium, how satisfying is that?
Oh my God, I can't even describe it. I'm so psyched. Like, I've been working on those tricks for a couple years now, and honestly, like, doing those together, the double chuck 10 and the switch McTwist, tried that all last season, didn't place it once, so that feels amazing. Can't believe it.
And to be on the podium next there to the Japanese, Yuto Totsuka in the first place. Ayumu Hirano went for the triple cork. How do you describe that?
Oh my God, those guys are insane. I can't believe how well they're all riding. I always aspire to ride the transition like they do. They all go so big and land high and make it look easy, and we're all just trying to replicate what they're doing every day. So, and then to see the triple, it was like, I was shocked, absolutely shocked, because this pipe doesn't necessarily lend itself to throwing that big of a trick, so that was super, super impressive.
I will enjoy being on the podium. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Taylor Gould. He finishes on the podium, gets very nice points boost to his qualification effort for Team USA and going to Beijing in 2022. What a showing, Todd Richards. Your final thoughts of what we saw?
Well, like I said, the landscape has absolutely changed by virtue of what Ayumu just threw down on run number 3. But hey, you can't take it away from our top 3 competitors. And it really was the Taylor Gould show all the way through into run number 3. Ruka Hirano came in and absolutely delivered.
Ruka Hirano with an 89 as he finishes on that podium. Taylor Gould finishing in 2nd place, Todd, but it was his first run, the 92.
Yeah, and it was by virtue of a completely different interpretation of what the judges would want to reward. going into the double chuck, backside 1080. That trick is insane. And to combo that into a giant switch McTwist into a 1080, I look forward to what Taylor Gold has in store for the rest of this season. But it really came down to a run that featured more spins than the last 5 years of my snowboarding total. Unbelievable. So much whirling around, so much perfection, a 95.5.
Yuto Totsuka of Japan coming off a second place performance at the Grand Prix, and he backs it up with a first place at the Big Show Dew Tour 2021. So congratulations once again. Yuto Totsuka gets the win. Taylor Gold second, Ruka Hirano finishing in third, and Ayumu Hirano winning our hearts with the first triple in the halfpipe. That wraps up an epic week, Dew Tour 2021. On behalf of Tina Dixon, Todd Richards, and our entire crew, I'm Todd Harris saying so long for now from beautiful Copper Mountain, Colorado. Let's send it down to D.C. for the awards ceremony and the men's Superpipe final presented by Toyota.
Coleman and everybody, let's get a big round of applause to all the athletes throwing down out here today. Wrapping up the action at Dew Tour here, doing it in style. We had Ayumu Hirano with the first ever triple cork in competition, and then Shaun White announcing that this was his last Dew Tour. Shaun White, thank you so much for everything you've done for snowboarding, and we love you, brother. Much respect. Before we bring your podium finishers up here, I'd like to introduce you, our guest out here, presenter of our awards. We've got Thomas Antonucci with Toyota. Thank you very much, Thomas, for being on hand. And now your podium out here for men's Snowboard Superpipe Finals presented by Toyota. In third place, representing Japan, let's hear it for Ruka Hirano.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. Yeah, 100%.
And congratulations, omedetou gozaimasu to Ruka Hirano from Japan. And in second place, member of Team USA, let's hear it. He's one of your own as well, Colorado, for Taylor Gold. One more time, let's get loud and proud, Colorado. Born and bred here, Taylor Gold in second place.
Quite shameful. Quite shameful.
And your champion out here doing it on the third and final run, representing Japan. Hands together for Yuto Totsuka. And there you have it. Ichiban, number one, your champion, omedetou gozaimasu. Congratulations, Yuto Totsuka, and your podium out here.
Thank you, DC, and again, congratulations.
Her name is Jody. Jody. Let's release the hounds. So congratulations once again. What a finish. Yuto Totsuka, 95.5, gets the win. Taylor Gold finishing in second, and Ruka Hirano finishing in third. When we return to Copper Mountain 2021, we will put a wrap on things. What a week of performance. No better way to kick off the holiday season and a strong showing at the Dew Tour. Final thoughts when we return to Copper.
It takes so much for the average kid to get to the mountain to go snowboarding.
It's not like, skateboarding or basketball where you just go play wherever you want. You need a mountain, first of all, snow, the whole gear setup, tickets. Making it more accessible is super important for the growth of the sport.
My backyard started in around 2012. Started there, just a few rails, and then each year it grew and grew, and then I got put in this really cool opportunity to bring them to a couple resorts, and right now they're at Copper Mountain, Killington, and Woodward Park City.
The most beautiful thing about it is that it's free. Getting more kids boarding and giving them a spot to really learn some tricks, jib, hang out with their friends. I've even taken a couple runs through Red's backyard, which is saying a lot.
Can't go after that.
Having Red's backyard here at Copper is pretty rad.
Everyone's got a jib, I'm looking up and I see the Red's backyard features in the street style. I'm like, okay, this is kind of incredible.
Red has accomplished so much at such a young age, and to be giving back to his community is really inspiring.
Giving back to snowboarding is rare, so props to Red for just thinking about others. It's a beautiful thing.
And a huge thanks to Olympic gold medalist and Silverthorne, Colorado resident Red Gerard. He's all about giving back to the sport he loves in Red's backyard here at Copper Mountain. What a tremendous performance all week long by all the athletes. I want to take a look at the highlights from the Adaptive Snowboard Bank Slalom presented by Toyota. Todd, these athletes come out here and they practice, they train. This course was phenomenal, and they have just charged it.
Yeah, and it's great to see that Dutour comes out and offers an opportunity for a great bank slalom, and it's just as competitive as the slopestyle and the halfpipe events that we see out here this weekend. These guys are going for time, and they want to win.
Men's and women's competition making their way down through the course built right here next to the slopestyle course and the halfpipe. Took a little bit of a practice to get through because some of these banks are no joke.
Yeah, it is a no-joke course. And these men and women came out here and absolutely put it on edge. And like I said, it was a stiff competition. You want to talk about people, being inspirational. To be able to come out and just have a good time and actually put on a legit race and a legit bank slalom course, it was great.
Kiana Clay with the win. Peggy Martin finishing in second, and Annika Hutzler finishing in third place on the women's side. The Adaptive Bank Snowboard Slalom presented by Toyota as well. And on the men's side, competition heated up. Everyone looking for a little bit of an edge here and there. Where can they make up some time, some speed? It was Maddie Sorhamaria, Finland, that got the win here in Copper. Owen Pick representing Great Britain finishing in second place, and John Leslie of Canada finishing in third. That was the men's and women's Adaptive Snowboard Bank Slalom presented by Toyota. So that puts a wrap on Dew Tour 2021. Todd, the things we saw, the athletes, the performances we witnessed, the passing of the torch with Shaun White saying goodbye to the Dew Tour, an amazing week.
Yeah, and the changing of the landscape. We talk about Dew Tour being a place for firsts. Well, we saw the Triple Cork debuted in the men's halfpipe. What's it going to be like next year? Well, we just have to stick around and find out.
Only seems appropriate as Shaun White says goodbye to the Dew Tour, end of a legacy. Ayuma Hirano ushers in the Triple Cork. So for Tina Dixon, Todd Richards, our entire hardworking crew here in Copper Mountain, I'm Todd Harris saying so long for now. We'll see you next year.